Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There may be strong language and adult themes.
Does that mean I have to leave?
You're the adult theme.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, goodbye.
No. We need you here. Okay,
Craig.
delete YouTube here.
Commander 401 in the chat.
Yep, I'm just getting... There we go. For some reason I was having trouble muting the YouTube.
Yeah. I usually just mute the tab.
Yep. Okay, and Greg Hartwick's here. So, people aren't used to us starting on time, so I'm going to wait a bit for the news.
And early, no less.
So, Mage, how about you give us some puppy news first?
Yeah.
By the way, I will not be able to sign up for every hour on the marathon.
Oh, okay.
They're doing a similar thing over on TikTok, not nearly as well organized or diverse, but I've been asked by a couple of people if I would come online with them.
Okay.
No big deal.
Also might be good for you to get some sleep somewhere during that 48 hours.
Sleep? What is sleep? We got somebody in the back here.
Yeah, we've got Ember popping in with us.
Hello.
Well, Molly's Christmas present arrived today. I'll be giving that to her on Christmas.
Don't tell her what it is.
You seemed happy to see the package, so I'm guessing she probably smelled what it was.
Smelly packages. Oh my.
Well, Sammy's son, I had bought him a new cat bed, and he was like afraid to use it. So
we have somebody to say hello to. Vibrantly Brantley.
Oh,
hasn't been here in a long time. Hey, Brantley, how you doing?
Okay, Sammy, settle in.
Oh, they can't. They can't hear us so well.
They can't hear us?
What?
No, that's what they say. I'm at work, so I can't hear anything, but I hope everything is going well.
Oh, okay. I thought it was saying.
Oh, and who came in? Ember's here? Hi, Ember.
Hello. It was a little bit late. I had to fight my OBS. I had a stream plug-in so that I could like watch rocket launches and shit in the background if I wanted to put that up on screen. And even though it was muted, the ad that came up when OBS loaded was not. And I had to track it down and find it and open the damn thing and shut it up.
Yeah. You'll see him joining us.
Is there a rocket launch due today?
Not that I know of. I've just left that on so I could just turn it on whenever, particularly when a flat earther shows up.
Yeah. I was watching some of the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff I haven't seen yet in the past this day. I watched the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special and the Volume 3. Holiday Special, really good, entertaining, enjoyable. Definitely recommend it. Volume 3, bit of a mixed bag.
I refuse to watch any holiday special for any holiday, but especially Christmas. If one comes on, I turn it off immediately. I'd rather not watch any TV at all than to watch a Christmas special. It drives me absolutely crazy.
Oh, the Christmas special is good though.
And you've got to watch the Star Wars the Star Wars.
I was going to ask about that. Like, it's not even remotely related to Christmas.
Yeah, but in the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Kevin Bacon saves Christmas.
Yep. Hey, Orla. I didn't even know the Guardians of the Galaxy had done a Christmas special.
Yeah, they did one in recently.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Arla, honey. I love you, Arla.
You know, with the Volume 3, the flashback for Rocket's past were a bit too gratuitous, I think, and they could have condensed it all into just one scene at the beginning of the movie instead of constantly cutting back to it. That was kind of my biggest problem with that movie.
They could have, but I think they were kind of drawing it out on purpose, like horror movie style, because some people had no idea what was going to happen, and they'd want more of Rocket's background, like who is this character, where does he come from?
Well,
But the people who were good at guessing foreshadowing could see where this was going, and it was like a train wreck happening in slow motion. You knew what was coming, and you wanted it to stop, but you couldn't make it stop.
I still feel like they could have conveyed the same message with just one scene at the beginning. Also, the other thing that kind of bugged me was this one's kind of a spoiler, or the destructions of the planet. They could have saved the planet somehow, and still conveyed just how evil the bad guy was.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it's kind of a Marvel's got this bug in their bonnet about having real consequences because they went so long with nobody actually dying or staying dead, and so now they need to they think they need to kill everyone to make there be real stakes. But not the main characters though, except sometimes they do. It's really inconsistent, but I think that's what they're trying to work out.
Well, didn't that one where they all got together to fight some big guy with snappy fingers?
Infinity War Endgame.
Didn't a whole bunch of them die in that?
Yeah, but they brought him back.
Temporarily.
They didn't stay dead very long.
Yeah, about 3 hours of movie time.
3 hours.
Except for the people who died after those people died, because those people didn't get to come back because when they reversed the magic, it didn't affect that. Even it gets kind of dumb.
and then in continuity, it was 5 years they were gone.
Okay, Nerdy Rodent says the worst thing about movies and films to do with Rocket Raccoon is they give him a ridiculous American accent instead of the Cockney he truly has. I think the worst thing about those movies is Rocket Raccoon. A creature with the intelligence of a human and the ethics of a raccoon is pure nightmare fuel.
Wait a minute, you don't have raccoons in the UK.
I have no knowledge of that.
Yeah, I don't know whether or not raccoons are over there.
They do not have raccoons in the UK.
Okay, I will believe you that maybe they're only in North America.
I'd like to send a breeding pair over there and absolutely invade their species of everything there because of what they've done to us with starlings and dandelions and garlic mustard and.
Well, we did trade squirrels. There
Squirrels
were
are
originally
okay.
no red squirrels in North America and no gray squirrels in the UK, and now there are both species in both places. And that was specifically which sailing ships bringing them back and forth.
So I think my favorite scenes in Volume 3 of Guardians of the Galaxy were the ones with Cosmo. That's the dog in it.
Skitsy.
Hey, Hunter.
That's right, Edger.
They did gender swap Cosmo from the comics. Cosmo in the comics is a male dog when it was a female dog in the movies, but they actually gave a good reason for why they did that.
Slothgirl. Hi,
Yep,
hi.
Sandy. And the Slothgirl is here.
Yes, Slothgirl. Because Cosmo was actually based on Leica, the Soviet space dogs that were lost, and that dog was female, so they wanted to base it off of a little bit more of a homage to that.
Ah, that makes sense.
So that's actually a reasonable reason to do the gender swap there.
Yeah, now it's not just Cosmo; it's short for Cosmonaut.
Yeah, that's what Cosmo is. He even the comic books, Cosmo was a Soviet space dog that got lost and got mutated
Oh,
by the
okay. They
cosmic
just
space.
fucked it up in the comics.
No,
It's
it was-
good.
I'm
Well,
just
there-
being difficult.
well, there were 57 dogs that were used in the Soviet experiment, so they could have been any one of them. But the one that Cosmo was based off of was like a
Yeah, wasn't the first one they put up Luca, I want to say?
yeah, that's the one that Cosmo was based off of. In
Yeah,
1967.
unfortunately, they never had any intention of bringing them back. They just wanted to see if they could put a living thing in orbit.
Yeah. A few of them came back and they reused them.
Yeah, some of them did, but Luca didn't. They left
Yeah.
Luca up there to freeze.
But that was the backstory for Cosmo. Is it was one of the dogs that they left up there, and instead of dying, he went through some cosmic rays similar to the
Yeah, the
Fantastic
Fantastic
Four,
Four.
gained telekinetic abilities and a much longer lifespan, and ended up being able to talk.
Okay, well, we have a good crowd here now, so yeah, Slothgirl. We took her to the cancer clinic yesterday, and they did X-rays, and we had the consult with the doctor. And apparently, they have found a medication that is finally working for her.
No kidding.
You know, it's still incurable, but at least there was no growth since the last set of scans. So this is at least kind of holding it in place, that the growths are not getting any larger and they're not spreading to any other parts of the body.
Not getting worse is good news.
Yeah, well, it means it's buying her some extra time.
That's all we can ever do.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good news, Sloth Girl. But you know it's going to go to the Supreme Court, and his bought and paid for judges are going to, turn that down, reverse it.
Now if we can do something about Florida's bullshit with the Democrat, it's in their primary.
Oh, yeah. The Colorado Supreme Court said Trump can't be on the ballot.
I don't know that the federal Supreme Court can address that because that's a state constitutional issue. I don't think there's federal standing.
No, they can't.
It's possible for a state constitution to be unconstitutional nationally.
Well,
that's true.
but
I don't know how they'd
running
challenge it, though.
elections is strictly the purview of the states. The federal government has no control over how states run elections.
The federal government rules for elections that they do have supersede anything the state has.
As I understand it, the Colorado decision was based on the 14th Amendment. I didn't pay that much attention, but I think I heard one of the news people say that this morning.
The reason they cited for it was that Trump incited an insurrection. So yeah, it was under the same things that what they passed after the Civil War. That anybody who incited, I forget the exact wording, but who incited an insurrection against the federal government is ineligible to run for office.
Yeah, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment.
Okay, yeah. I mean, they're just not... I mean, I'm sure they can challenge it. And frankly, I'm amazed that Trump still has lawyers after how he's treated his previous lawyers, not paying them and throwing them under the bus and whatnot, but whatever. They could challenge it, but I don't see how they can mount anything resembling a case.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he did it on national television,
Well,
but he hasn't been convicted, and I think if they did, that's what will be the overturning of it.
Yeah, you have to be conviction first, yeah.
Well, it's kind of a gray area there because he hasn't been convicted in a legal status, but I forget which state. There were civil cases against him, and the judge ruled that he was liable in the civil cases because of citing insurrection. So it was one of the other state district courts that said yes, he did incite an insurrection.
And for those who want to know, the particular amendment, section 3, disqualification from holding office. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president, or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who having previously taken an oath as a membership of Congress or as an officer of the United States, or as a member of any state legislature, or as an executive or judicial office of any state, to support the Constitution of the United States, and shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress, this may be a vote of 2/3 of each house to remove such disability. So that's what they're citing.
Yeah, and this is as part of Trump's whole thing of the claiming that there was massive election fraud. Rudy Giuliani has been ordered to pay $148 million to Georgia election workers because the lies he was spreading about them tampering with ballots led to them being threatened. They had to go into hiding.
They can't live in their house anymore.
Yeah,
there's too many people tracking them down to that. Yeah,
but they had to go into hiding. So, which this is really something, because in the filings they were only asking for $43 million. So the judge made it $148 million. So the judge made it like 3 times what their lawyers had actually requested.
Interesting.
Not often that happens. Was it the judge, or was there a jury assigning damages? Because I've seen juries multiply damages way more than what was asked for when they really want to punish a bad actor.
No, the jury only decides whether or not he's liable. The judge sets the actual penalty.
Oh, this is fascinating. I'm looking up the Wikipedia entry for the 14th Amendment, and there's actually, under Section 3, there's a subsection specifically about the January 6th attack. Like, hey guys, this is really relevant.
Yeah. Well, and now that other courts will use that now. The lawyers against Trump will reference that when they're in other courts arguing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Jura says, I hear someone eating. You know the rules. If I can hear you eating, I have to know what you're eating because I'm a fat fatty who likes food porn.
I'm having ice cream and gingerbread cookies.
And if it's on my end, then it's Molly chewing on one of her chew toys.
And Sandy, hello. And Stool. How about that?
Hey, Stool. And Nerdy is having toast with French brie and Victorian-style chutney.
What is chutney?
It's like a kind of a berry mash paste to something.
Ew, huh?
What flavor ice cream? Lemon ice cream with blueberry streaks in it.
Sandy, how low can you go stealing cheese from a mouse?
It's like Prince John in the animated Robin Hood levels right there.
okay, I see. So chutney is basically just fruit mush.
Fruit gruel. I like that. Yeah.
So it's kind of like chunky preserves.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh yeah, that's what Slothgirl just said. It's chunky jam.
I got some good food news yesterday. Our local food bank is going to be giving out Christmas hams and things tomorrow.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm actually going to get some real food.
Nice.
Oh, excellent.
I finally broke down and decided to start going to the food bank. I've been resisting it for 20 years,
I can understand that.
Mhm.
but here I am, and I must say it is awful helpful. I've actually got
Yeah.
a full pantry.
Yeah, I had some medical bills once that basically took over my food bill when I had to go to some pantries once to just so I could eat for the month. When I went there, they had these just bologna sandwiches with this mustard on them, regular yellow mustard. But considering the situation I was in, that was some of the best sandwiches I ever had.
And we have captive desk.
Dave. Hail Bigfoot.
Okay. Chutney is Indian and typically, or at least in my experience, has a whole bunch of different spices. But I don't mean like hot spicy. So not like hot peppers, but spicy. Yep. It's good to have a full pantry, especially in winter. Because, yeah, in Minnesota, sometimes there's going to be a period that you can't go out for a few days.
Yeah, I relate to that.
I try and keep some emergency canned food on hand at all times,
Yeah.
mostly because of hurricanes.
Well, and especially, January coming up. January's our coldest month. That's when we get the deep below zero weather that sometimes it's just unbearable to walk out there.
Used to be true here too, but the winter's been unpredictable the last 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah, the soups I usually like to get are the Campbell's chunky soups because you can eat them cold and you get a lot of meat and just bulk to them.
Yeah.
I think spaghetti was cold.
We've been back here in Minnesota since 2020, and the winters have been really quite mild since we've been back here. We haven't been getting anywhere near the amount of snow that they've, based on the 30-year average, we haven't been getting anywhere near that much snow.
Well, my cynical side suggests we enjoy it while we can, because while it's creepy as hell, when the pendulum swings the other way, it's not going to be fun.
They recently changed some of the hardiness zones for areas, so that might have actually changed for you what zone you're in for.
Yeah, I've kind of wondered about that, if they've updated that.
Yeah, they recently did update it for some places.
Chutney has dried ginger, garlic, paprika, cumin, red chili pepper, and cinnamon.
So it's almost the word.
I don't know about some of those stuff, but the ginger and the cinnamon, I guess, would work for a fruit thing. I don't know about the rest.
Okay, Sandy has
Curry.
paid
It's fruit
restitution,
curry.
so she can be forgiven.
Nerdy, I set a record high this week too. I decided to treat myself to a wake and bake. It was wonderful.
Who died?
What?
a wake and bake. That's when
Oh,
you
right.
go to
Yeah, it took
someone's
me a
wake and
moment.
then
Yeah, Slothgirl says according to the weather thing on my computer, we're having record highs.
Stephanie Helms said yesterday that it was like in the 40s up where she is in Maine. So I'm like I'm in a cold spot between you two.
Yeah.
It's supposed to get to 50 here over Christmas.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't checked the actual temperature, but what little snow we have has been melting, and that's just not right here. We shouldn't have it warm enough to melt in December.
I don't know. I remember when dude, I don't think winters have ever been consistent around where I live. Like I remember being in elementary school when winter was mostly over by mid-February, and we had these plants called pussy willows that they'd bloom with like little oofs of like gray fluff, almost like fuzzy caterpillars. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
It was cute
Mhm.
as hell. But
Yep.
by the time I got to high school, winter lasted until May, and nobody remembered pussy willows. I'm like, what the fuck? At first, I thought I was imagining them until I started driving around further south and found pussy willows blooming at the right time of year when they were supposed to. I'm like, winter changed. That's interesting. And then around the time I was 16, winter would break in mid-February, and then everything just shifted across the calendar.
Yep.
Winter used to start around Halloween. We'd get our first good snowfall somewhere around November 1st, and it would just last until March. But then it shifted back, and now we get maybe a couple sprinkles before Christmas, but the real snow doesn't actually start till Christmas, and it lasts until May. And fuck.
Where approximately
Angie.
are you?
Middle of New York State.
Oh, okay. Were you in that real pounding that they got a week or so ago from the lake effect snow?
Well, okay, so it depends on what you mean by pounding, because I've found that when the Weather Channel shows up and starts broadcasting about our extreme snow, to us it's usually a dusting.
I'm in Minnesota, Wisconsin. Extreme snow is 10, 20, 30 inches.
Nah, that's mild.
No, actually, I lived in Syracuse, and the weather there wasn't too much different from Minneapolis as far as the snowfall went.
Yeah, Syracuse only gets around 140, 150 inches a year. There's this weird, I don't know if it's a latitude line or what it is, but there's like a barrier that runs across New York Route 31, which is an east-west road. And south of the road, it's almost like living in an entirely different climate. Like it will be snowing cats and dogs north of the road, but south of the road, you might get a dusting. You might even get a light rain.
I found that true in many places, and surprisingly how often the divider it winds up being, a major highway. So I have wondered if we haven't been creating some weather patterns, just by the road being constantly warm, like deflecting the storms.
Amber, I need to offer you a correction. I'm sorry. Rain is cats and dogs. Snow is puppies and bunnies.
Uh-huh.
Well, of course, that's why it's fluffy.
Fluffy makes me think of two things that have come up recently. One is overweight people. Many of us prefer to be referred to as fluffy. I personally go with jolly, but that may be because of the holiday. And the other is Doc Dino, because his avatar is a Deinonychus, I believe, and he's been working on doing a winter coat of extra fluffy blue feathers for his avatar. And I'm like, oh, fluffy Doc, interesting.
Floofy Doc.
Because, everybody thinks cute when they think of dinosaurs.
Yep.
Purple knows.
See, dinosaurs are cute.
Till they bite you.
Well,
Have the scars.
That's why ceratopsins. Ceratopsins generally don't bite people. In fact, there has never been a single documented instance of a ceratopsin attacking a human.
Despite what Matt Powell might think about the matter.
Yeah, Slothgirl is saying Halloween snowstorm we had when we were living in St. Paul. And I want to say that it was sometime in the late 80s, maybe 87. But I was taking her daughter out trick-or-treating. And we got like a block and a half from their house, and it started snowing. And it's not that unusual to have snow on Halloween, so we tried to keep going. And just how fast it got so thick that by the time we got to the end of that block, cars were sliding through the intersection. And when a police car slid through and did a 180 and hit another car, I decided we were going to have to go home. And I felt so bad about cutting trick-or-treating so short for her. But by the time we got back to her house, the snow was already piling up. It came so fast, and we wound up getting, like 10 or 12 inches that day.
I remember one Halloween snowstorm when I was little and trick-or-treating myself, and it was a similar thing. It was getting so bad that my parents were worried we wouldn't be able to get back home because I lived on a farm, so we were miles outside of town. It's, what can you do?
Oh, Nerdy says in the States it's not pounding, it's dollaring.
Oh, that's a deep cut.
No. The rich 1% prevents it from being dollaring.
Yeah, we only get the cents.
If we're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Things you only say once. Aw, look at the cute T-Rex.
Okay, I'm going to do something for this screen that I have never ever done before. I'm going to turn on my camera. Ready?
Okay.
How about that, eh?
Okay. Are we just looking at blank wall here?
It's the void. You're supposed to scream into it.
Yeah. It's the abyss.
Ah.
Sometimes the abyss looks back.
Okay, I guess that didn't work out very well. Hi, Angie. I don't know how to pronounce Regio. How do I pronounce it correctly?
I think it's Regios.
Regios?
Are we getting that right?
Sounds about right.
And
Hopefully
Demon Orb?
they'll tell us.
Oh. Bye, Orla.
Orla, oh. Love you, Orla.
What popped? My goodness, how violent.
I can't wait to go to England so I can track Orla down.
Slothgirl says things you only say once. Yes, honey, that dress does make you look fat. Although in my case, it's more like, honey, does this dress make my ass look big? And I would say, no, maybe you should try the green one.
Ooh.
Try harder.
No. It's not the dress that makes you look fat. It's the fat that makes you look fat.
I'd have a hard time with that. I don't think I'd hurt anybody over it, but I might cry.
Now, would you say these sorts of things with the grave already dug, or would you make her dig it herself?
Oh, I dig the grave first. I mean, I gotta be polite.
Actually, Slothgirl.
Cool, Reggie.
Slothgirl frequently sings, "Would you like to help me hide a body?" To
Oh,
that,
yeah.
"Would you like to build a snowman" thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's build a snow fort first.
Hide a body in a snow fort. No one will ever suspect.
Well, yeah, and it thaws out and comes spring, and you go, huh? How did that get there?
Yes. Honest officer, I have no idea. Maybe it's a Paleolithic Iceman. Or not. I don't know.
Well, what you really need is a friend who's not very bright, so that when it comes time to hide a body, they're wondering why you asked them to dig 2 holes. No witnesses.
No witnesses and have a good alibi.
Yeah, George says, Jenny, you know she'd want you to track her down like a creeper.
You mean a stalker? Is that what a creeper is? I assume.
How's that song go? Jenny's got your number.
He's got a gun.
I used to, not anymore.
What, did you have to eat it?
Yes, I did have to use it once. Fortunately, I realized the guy was a friendly, so I withdrew it, but I was all ready to pop the trigger.
Yeah, it's gotta be a bad position to be in.
It really is. It really is. I had a sense of fear that I'd never had before, even though I knew that I had 100% had the upper hand, because I actually flashed in my head, I could end up killing somebody here, and
Mm-hmm.
then that just continued on afterwards, and that's why I got rid of my gun.
Yeah, I've been in that position before. It wasn't with a gun, but it was. I've been in a position where I could have killed this person if I had not a fun position to be in.
Yeah, I don't think I could do it. I would not own a gun. Because if you pull it out, you have to be prepared to use it. And I would hesitate.
That's why I never carried one in repossession.
Oh, hey, I
all
want to
you're
make
going to do is escalate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I want to make special note of Purple's scribblings down there. You guys, we really do need some folks to sign up and do some lives during the Christmas marathon.
Yeah, on Christmas Day.
Yeah, the 25th.
Yeah, actually, I sent a message to the group shortly before the show started, but I didn't want to put anything in stone until because I don't know what's on the master schedule, so I didn't want to actually schedule anything until I knew for sure.
Yeah, I was going to get back to you about that because that time is filled, but we still have morning and evening time slots on Christmas Day. I was hoping to get some of the UK people or people from Western Europe to take some of the early morning time slots. Since they're 6 hours ahead of us, those are reasonable hours of the morning for them.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think Nerdy should do a 4-hour stream.
Yeah, Nerdy could just do some of his brain warping artwork.
Ooh, that might actually be fun.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Not necessarily a how-to or you're lecturing or anything, but just a demo of, how it's done and all that kind of stuff, and because it's so pretty.
And soon we were talking about stuff. There's a GoFundMe for the car. It's still stuck.
Yeah, we've fallen far short of our goal, and it's kind of stalled the repairs at this point.
So if anybody wants to do some Christmas present giving, that's a good way of going.
Nerdy has to take care of the brood. Yeah, so
Nerdy, why don't you just tell the children it's Christmas? We have to live with the Christmas spirit. So you little fucks, just go sit down and stop being so selfish. I got to help these other people. That's what they need to learn.
Did you know that children like to be fed every single day?
What?
Yeah.
More than once.
Well, see, food is addictive. Somebody has it just a couple of times, and I think they need to have it every single day.
I feel that way about sleep. I suspect that sleep is an addiction. And when you're too little, when you're a newborn, you're too weak to resist its allure. And by the time you're an adult, it's so ingrained, it's become so habitual, and you're so hooked on it that you just can't quit.
I told my grandkids that they're just going to have to get used to cutting back on and conserving toilet paper, so they can only use it every other day. I said, we have the sink right there. You can wash up afterwards, but you can't use toilet paper every day. You just can't.
Nerdy says he has to do an AI talk at Lisbon Institute. That sounds kind of prestigious.
Well, make the AI talk. Takes a day off. How cool would that be? An AI giving an AI talk? Greetings, humans.
You are Victoria. Is this a new person? I've never met them.
Oh no, Victoria's been around for a while.
Yep, I've seen her hanging around in the chats of other channels. But I think this is the first time they've been over here, so welcome. Appreciate getting some new people joining us.
Yeah, I saw Elle a little while back. I guess lots of Canadians just kind of cluster together. Yeah, there's Elle.
Oh, I missed Elle coming in. Hi, Elle.
Congratulations, Chair. I don't think I've ever won one.
First there were breatharians, now Ember is starting awakarians. Yep.
Oh, I'm way too hooked on sleep to ever quit myself. It's a shame too. I'd be so much more productive if I had an extra 4 hours a day.
Well, now see, I have the problem that I need sleep, but I never learned how to do it. So I am chronically sleep deprived because basically I don't sleep more than 2 hours at a time.
Well, you should have
And
paid
that's
closer
just not
attention in
enough.
school.
No. In school was when I did most of my sleeping.
Mm-hmm. That's relatable. Yeah, because when you're out of school, there's shit that actually requires your attention. In school, I mean, the class is going to happen whether you're watching it or not.
Yeah, seriously, the only class I actually failed in high school was because it was first period and I was asleep more often than I was awake. So I didn't hand in the assignments because I was usually asleep when he told us what we had to do.
I could sleep through the class and still get A's.
Yep. I had first period physics, which was kind of cheating for me because I was already writing papers and publishing them. I'm like, yeah, okay, it's fine. But it was still neat. The teacher, he'd come up with creative ways to wake me up when I started snoring. One time, I did try to stay awake. It just didn't work very well. So I fell asleep with like my head back over the back of my chair, and he happened to be doing frequency that day. So he grabbed a tuning fork and struck it so it started vibrating and touched it just to the very tip of my nose. And holy shit, that's a weird feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds
Nerdy
kind
said
of
I
erotic.
tried. Nerdy said I tried playing solitaire, but kept getting accused of cheating.
What would it be like to have a tuning fork
No,
touch
bad Jenny.
your nipple?
Okay, that wasn't going quite where I thought.
Well, I think the nipple would be too soft for it to really transmit very well. So
Oh, I don't think so.
You could probably
I'm gonna have to get a
transmit.
tuning fork and prove that. Sounds fun.
yeah,
And
For
there's other
science.
places you could try it too.
Yeah, we knew we were going there.
my grandpa always carried a pack of cards with him when he went walking in the forest, and he said that was in case he ever got lost. He knew all he had to do was sit down on a log and start playing solitaire, because inevitably somebody'd start looking over his shoulder and tell him he was doing it wrong.
It tracks.
Hey, Mage, you posted that thing about the Minnesota state flag, and then I acquired a copy of just the flag, noting the article stuff around it, so it's bigger and easier to see and stuff. Could you bring that in and show it? I would like to offer it to the chat, and along with Aunt Jer's comment about it.
So state flag.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know they had made the final decision yet.
Oh, that.
Okay, Desolation Alley. This is somebody new. Hello.
So should we call you Deso or Des or Desola or
DA.
Allie, Al? What do you prefer? And what are your pronouns?
I think this is to your thing about putting the tuning fork places. That you should Google sounding.
Oh, it's Kalasia. Neat.
Oh, okay. Didn't recognize you.
Another person I don't know. I'm so embarrassed.
Okay, and the pronouns are she, her. That's good to know.
Yeah, Kalasia's all over the place.
Well-
Bunch of channels.
Well, nice
He-
to meet you, Kalesia.
Recently got promoted to mod on the line, if I recall. I don't spend as much time on the line as I used to for reasons, but I think
Yeah.
I saw something about that.
Yeah, I only see some of the clips. I just don't normally watch anything that Jimmy Snow's involved with anymore. Used to like him, but haven't watched for like the last year or two.
I think the only one I've watched of the line was where they had Forrest Falkai and R and Ra on together.
Oh yeah, that's both of them are such fun,
Oh, yeah.
enthusiastic biology people. It's just it's like when Forrest and Erica get together. Like,
Yeah,
yes.
last night I was watching Seth Andrew interviewing Forrest on the Atheist Experience, and that was really great because it was, Forrest completely unscripted, just reacting to the questions with no information beforehand what he was going to be talking about.
Oh yeah, that was on Seth's channel. I started
Yeah.
watching it and then I passed out.
Yeah, I was
Um,
watching that last night, and it was great to I really found out a lot more about him just as a person.
Yeah,
and that-
he's just
yeah, that
he's
one-
unreally. It can't be a real human. I mean, I've met him in person, but he's just so damn wholesome. I don't know how a Homo sapiens could exist in that state. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the things he said on there was that he was trying to dedicate himself that at least half of the things he was doing, he would do for free. And just that level of charity you don't hear about.
Yeah, the one I watched. I actually did send a super chat in asking him if they knew any of any good books on plant evolution, and Forrest actually did direct me to a good college textbook I got my hands on.
Oh, Forrest loves book recommendation hour. I realize with the super chat it's supposed to be 5 minutes, but when
There we
Forrest gets
go.
going, it's an hour.
Aunt Jer, would you like to make a comment, or should I try to verbalize it correctly? I don't remember.
Yeah, Jenny, why don't
exact
you
tone.
introduce our new flag?
This is the new Minnesota state flag. It was decided that it should be changed because they were having complaints that people thought the old one was racist with some of the little figures and stuff that they had on it. I don't really know the original state flag, so I can't comment myself. But it's not surprising, it's ancient stuff does that kind of stupid things. So anyways, I put this up there after Mage plants an article about it. And Jera says just what she did down there. Come on, Perp, put it up. Put your Jera's quote up. Yeah.
Still better than the old flag, though.
Well, the old one had the state seal and everything and was really busy. I guess I hadn't noticed anything that seemed overtly racist on it, but there were a lot of small figures in the seal that I hadn't magnified enough to look at closely.
Yeah, I see a farmer-looking dude pushing a plow by hand, because that's totally how you did it. And there's another humanoid figure that I gather is supposed to be red because it's got a red outline, riding a horse with red hair, holding what looks like it might be a spear and something that could be long hair or could be a headdress.
That sounds like it might qualify as racist.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it would. Like I say, I guess I never looked at it that closely to see that.
It's pretty tiny, yeah.
Well, I
I've got it
remember
on,
the
like,
guy pushing
maximum
the plow.
magnification.
Wisconsin is safer. Their old guys, one's a sailor, one's a miner. They should have had an adult, but they have a minor instead.
We have a similar situation with some places here in New York. Give me a second and I'll grab an image I can show you.
I want to see what the old flag looked like. Is the old flag?
Yeah, see, this is what I meant about too busy, that there's just, and when it's up on a flagpole from any distance, you can't see any of this stuff.
Yeah, definitely too busy.
Yeah, and the one on the horse is definitely like, a ponytail, but it's also got like a feather sticking out the top.
Definitely questionable with the design.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's absolutely supposed to be a Native American. That's pretty bad. Boy, those Christmas ornaments in purple are really pretty.
So this is Whitesboro, New York. The one on the left is the original village seal. Nothing racist going on there. It's just, a very white settler and an obvious native strangling each other with the white person winning. The one on the right is the replacement that's supposed to be a little less racist.
Yeah, no, still not a good image. Especially
but at least they're equal in stance and grasp. There is that.
The new one, it looks more like it's a wrestling match.
That's exactly it, is the apologetic for the old one. Now, I should note, Whitesboro was founded by a guy named White, but he happened to be white. He moved into the area, found there had been a farm there, and something happened with the Oneidas who lived nearby, and every European on the farm had been killed.
Well, you get your land stolen, people act that way.
Yeah, so he killed all the Oneidas he could reach back and founded a town. But yeah, the apologetic is that they were officially in a friendly wrestling match, despite how it looks. So the new seal kind of tries to reinforce that.
In a wrestling match, you get disqualified for grabbing your opponent's neck.
Yeah, I mean, he's got his hands
also
on the guy's
for murdering
neck,
them.
And it looks like the mouth is screaming to high heaven.
Yeah.
It's not very friendly. Oh, these apologists.
Yeah, so it's just that's the reason for the new seal. It's supposed to look like a wrestling match in order to justify the old seal, rather than actually, tell something about the community.
Yeah, they
You
should have
know,
abandoned the whole thing.
Yeah.
with the name Whitesboro, I would have seriously, at least done a poll to see if we should maybe rename the town.
Caucasianville?
Euro Square. Oh,
Here's Slothgirl.
Christianopolis.
I can never remember the name of this, so what her condition is a soft tissue sarcoma called leiomyosarcoma. So yeah, it started in her uterus and it had moved to producing growths in her lungs.
Oof.
So that had been the concern, that it was going to keep spreading to other organs, but at this point it's at least being contained and it's not going to other organs. Yeah, and she's breathing okay so far, but unfortunately it saps her strength. So like just she went grocery shopping with her friend on Monday, and that qualified as overdoing it. So then for her appointment Tuesday, I had to get a wheelchair to get her down to the car. Which it is fortunate for us that our building actually owns 2 wheelchairs that they keep in the community room. So one of the nice little extra perks with living here that you wouldn't normally expect. That this building actually is handicap accessible, which is surprising as it was built in the late 70s. And usually it's like they kind of follow the letters of having a ramp in that, but it's not really something anyone can do. This is actually a building that the corridors are wide enough and there are ramps and elevators, so somebody with a wheelchair could actually get themselves between their apartment and the parking lot without a lot of trouble. And like the community room has the automatic doors, and both the front and back entries have the automatic doors. So it is something that somebody in a wheelchair could actually navigate on their own. So she says she's doing okay for now. And yeah, the fatigue is better than the cancer spreading.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the fatigue is actually from the drugs as much as from the cancer.
My mom died from metastatic breast cancer. It took her breasts and then it attacked her liver and killed that. And that's how she died.
Okay, Calicia got back to her normal account. My mother died from complications of COPD and was on oxygen for 10 years.
Kalasia, does the name Kalasia mean anything in particular? It's very pretty.
It is something that I've been told that with the hormones is now a risk for me, so they have to do regular scans for the breast cancer as well. I'm not too worried about it because there isn't really a history in my family of it.
There's always the first.
Oh. So it's Kalesia? Kalesia, sorry. So it's a hard A.
Yeah, people really pronounce Latin wrong. it's kind of funny. It used to annoy me a lot more, but
Well,
Now,
why
see,
would people know?
thence
you know?
cometh English. You know, we're vulgar.
See, I don't do that. I only pronounce my native language wrong.
A V in Latin is pronounced as a W in our language. Let's see, what were some of the other rules?
Alazia. I think I got it.
E has an A sound. Gosh. I can remember all these. Why can't I remember this stuff from 50 years ago, huh?
Damn it, Slothgirl.
They're moving, squeezing. Yes. Next month on the 12th, my turn.
Yep. Slothgirl speaks a very good Pidgin German.
I go in
Okay.
next week for...
Yay, I was close.
Okay, Ember, do it again since you got the closest.
Shoot. Kalazia. Kalazia. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Why are words so hard? My tongue doesn't work.
Words are hard.
Okay, sorry, Jenny, you were talking about your
Yeah,
appointment
Kalazia.
coming up.
Kalazia? I think Kalazia.
I was just mentioning that I go in next week, Wednesday, for an ultrasound of my thyroid. So they can decide if they're going to just trying to kill me with medications that are very toxic, or take the damn thing out and put me on a different medication that's toxic for the rest of my life.
Yeah. So we have a porpoise with us. Whoop. Sorry.
Nothing is working.
No, I was trying to hit the button to make you
bigify it.
bigger, and I accidentally knocked you out.
Yeah, porpoise work. Antjer just corrected me. I've been running around spelling it wrong for weeks and weeks, and Antjer just corrected me last night. I'm like, oh no! I'm pretty sure that's in videos too.
What spelling? What?
Cetacean.
Oh,
I hit it Cetation or something like that, and I'm like, oh no.
cetacean. I've never heard that word. Does it have to do with octopus and stuff?
That's like sea mammals, like
whales
whales and
and
dolphins.
dolphins.
Okay.
And
okay, I'll try to spell it.
Porpoises.
And kitties.
Cetacean.
Yeah.
We have a kitty cam.
CETATIAN.
Nope.
Damn.
No T's. Porpoise, you are muted.
It's got no
silent
T's.
Or something.
Then everybody's pronouncing it wrong. Where is it listed here?
Dealing with filthy paws and face.
What's the correct spelling?
CETACEAN.
I have to see it. Somebody type it in the chat, please. I'm obsessed. Help
Antjer,
me.
can you help us with how to spell cetacean? Angie likes your kitty. She said Athena's a beautiful cat.
Angie's got a pretty profile logo avatar. The thing in the circle where it says Angie.
Yep.
Pretty colors. I love it.
Okay.
See, now there's a T in there.
Yep. CETACEAN.
Okay.
Okay, I guess Porpoise is having some problems with the mic, and we'll be back. And maybe their
Boy,
microphone
you
wasn't
think
plugged in.
you think a college grad would be better at it than that, huh?
He was
Oh, yep.
Gotta give her a break. She's a college graduate.
Yeah. Porpoise just graduated college this week, everybody. So give her a round of applause and a pack of cookies.
I don't have a cookie, alas. I have a fish.
Angie says. Yeah, Angie says that her avatar was done by Wonder Lady Faye.
Neat.
I remember when my dad was going to college, he was surprised how many the college students there couldn't spell college.
COLLEJ. Excuse me.
Hey, I went to college. Didn't take any classes, but I've been there.
I took a couple of college classes.
COLLIG.
Yeah. I took a couple of classes at the community college, but yeah, I wasn't even going for any kind of degree. Actually, one of my interesting experiences was my brother and I were actually hired to do renovations on my old high school after it closed to make it into the community college. So in a single year, no, actually it was a couple of years apart, but that I had attended high school, been hired to work there, and attended college all in the same classroom.
I went to university and duoversity and triversity and quattroversity and singularversity. That's why my student loans are so high.
Slothgirl says, Hunked on Phoenix worked for me.
Yep. I've always those commercials played when I was little, and even as a child, it struck me that phonics not being spelled phonetically was fucked up.
Yep.
Have you heard? All of us old people all grew up learning phonics to learn how to read and stuff, right? I think most of us here probably did. But then they got away from that into this sight reading and all sorts of different strange methods and stuff, that all of which they found really work for shit. And now they're back to phonics, which some of us knew was the only correct way to begin with.
Yeah, when I was like in middle school, there was kind of a thing that started about basically revamping the alphabet, and that we should spell everything phonetically, and they were actually going to get rid of a couple of letters of the alphabet altogether.
Oh, we've
I
done
guess
that
that
before.
movement never went very far.
Well, we could get rid of C.
Well, yeah, it was getting rid of C and Q and X.
Yeah, I could see uses for X and Q.
Well, any place that used the QU, you could use the KW.
They should get rid of Z is what they should get rid of, because you can put X in there instead, and X is much cooler looking.
I don't know. I kind of like Z's. I'm a little struck by the C thing, but I can't make an argument to defend it because it's either a K sound or an S sound. It's completely superfluous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only confusing because you don't know which of the two sounds to use.
Though I do think we should add letters for T, A, H, C, H, and S, H.
Oh yeah, we used to have a good solid letter for TH sounds. I think it was called Thorn, but we dropped it because apparently we weren't using TH in enough words. Only, the.
The, that, there, they.
Yeah,
them.
Slothgirl saying new math is the worst, and what was most confusing to me is what they came out with this, what they were calling the new math when I was raising kids. But when I was in school in the 70s, they were teaching us what they called the new math.
Yeah, we're on like the 6th generation of new math. This is like the newest new math.
Yeah.
When I was raised in West Dallas Public Schools, a small blue collar suburb of Milwaukee, and we learned, mathematics in the oldest ways. And, like when you divide, you carry the numbers down and you put everything across the top line and stuff. And then somewhere along the line, the new math came along, but not in our district, but it did in Milwaukee, the big city. And they did some weird thing for division where you have the same, the little check mark with the top line symbol, but instead of writing stuff up there, you drew another line straight down and put it next to all your workings or whatever you're doing. And I was not very good at math. And when that came along, when we moved from West Dallas to Milwaukee, all the kids had been taking that and learned that for a number of years, and I'd never seen it before. And it started my my path to being a complete math failure because the teacher I had would not explain it. She just called me stupid and things because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, because she
Great teacher.
expected all the kids to have learned a couple of years earlier.
Well, yeah, and I even said, "Look, this is my first time in this school. Well, duh, we didn't learn it that way. You're wrong. I'm right." She didn't like that either, Miss Weller. Yeah, she got pissed.
Division was actually one I always had trouble with for some reason.
Angie says the Common Core math was a trick that the math teachers used to teach them in the old days. Yeah, the Common Core math, it's one of those things that I can do it now that's been explained, but it really seems a lot more complicated to me than the way I was, taught to do it with just borrowing and carrying from the next column. Hey, Porpoise. We hear rummaging on the desk.
Well, one of the mics is working, but not the one I want to, I think.
Yeah.
Disrespectful equipment.
Well, this is Microsoft's fault.
It is.
It always is.
Yep. Well, we have a voice now.
It's called a PC. Piece of
Hey,
crap.
We
that's
have
better.
a voice, so we don't have to shoot you down.
No, we lost you again.
And now we lost you. Now there's no voice.
Throw that window. Maybe he'll work then.
Oh, hey, Mark Caesar. You're usually here early. Been busy today?
He was beaten off in the corner. He's getting old, so it takes him much longer.
Some weird glitches on the Porpoise's camera there.
How come all the pictures keep getting smaller and smaller?
Sorry, Porpoise, still not hearing you.
Because as we add people, we need to take up less space and share the real estate.
You could open up YouTube and just write down everything that you want to say.
Sorry, Porpoise, we still can't hear you.
We hear nothing. No, Mark, I hired one of your neighbors. They come around and they peek in. It was much cheaper.
Oh, And she has to go get her grandkids. Bye-bye.
Testing.
Yeah.
There we
yeah,
go. That
yes.
I
sounds
hear
good.
something.
I really need to get the USB Yeti back in because it's not supposed to be using the cam microphone.
Okay, we hear you good now.
And I have no idea. It's got to be a Windows 11 update because Microsoft does not test their updates adequately.
They haven't tested anything in like 30 years.
They just throw it out there and patch it as needed, huh?
Yeah, it's something about Windows 10 that's bothered me is that anytime you plug in a new device, it turns that one into the default.
Windows 11 doesn't do that, but apparently the latest update killed.
I haven't
Might
tried
be
Windows
anywhere.
11 yet.
I'm dreading
It's
Windows
alright.
11. I've got a computer I've got to eventually replace, and I'm hoping I can avoid 11.
Mhm.
Calalicia, don't worry about it. Being off topic is about the only thing that's consistent in our streams.
Oh, look at that avatar. That's so cute.
Oh, Theo, hello.
Hey, you took away Kalaisia. I wanted to look at that closer.
Oh,
Put
the
it,
wizard?
put it back.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go. It's a
Aw,
little wizard.
I'm gonna take it so I can say
Yep.
that I took a whiz.
Yeah, she said it was a role-playing character.
Thank you. Now we can look at Theo.
He also got a rather handsome image.
Well, if you're into men, you know.
They have their uses.
No, they really don't.
You know I'm here.
I'm sorry, that was just too easy. I had to say it.
They have their uses. The problem is they want to hang around and have a conversation afterward.
Oh, they can't talk. Cut it out. I'm sorry.
Oh,
will-
yes, Slothgirl. I remember Chico and the man. That Chico was living in his van inside the guy's garage.
These kids-
Wasn't that with that comedian who Flash in the Pan died? Fuck, can't remember
Yeah, I
his
don't
name.
remember his name.
I never liked him much. He was way too white bread for his ethnicity.
Calazia says some guys are real sweet, and that's true. There are a few nice ones. It's just for me, it's really rare for me to make emotional connections with people.
Well, you just want their dick anyway. So
Yeah, well, it's like I've had sex with like 100 men, and there's only been like 3 that I thought there was any chance of any emotional connection. So based on that, I have to say that there's about 3% of the male population that I could actually have something more than just a physical thing with.
Freddie Prinz, yes, that's correct. And Jack Albertson, I remember him.
Yep. Freddie Prinze, yeah, I couldn't remember his name. And Porpoise became disconnected again.
Well, I've never thought of her as particularly stable, so.
Yep, Sanford had son with Red Fox, and who was the guy who played his son?
Lamont? I
Yeah.
don't remember. I think it was the first and only time he'd ever been on TV. They actually play that here. That's one of the old TV comedies that they have on around here.
Device disconnected. That's interesting. From Sinister.
Yep. There was a where my mom lives up in Michigan. She doesn't have cable, so there's a broadcast TV channel up there that basically all they played were the really old shows. Most of them were even in black and white. So it was like, all syndicated comedies from like the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, Mark, we got an update for Slothgirl yesterday. They did X-rays and huh?
That was probably my OBS. I'm like turning stuff off to put more stuff
okay.
on.
Yeah, that the drug they put Slothgirl on about a month ago is actually proving to be at least effective at slowing things down. It's still incurable, but at least it's giving her more time.
I know I've heard it many times. I just not smart enough to have details. But they've been saying for a long time that they think they get cancer to the part where it's just like a chronic disease that you have to deal with, but it's that it doesn't necessarily kill you right away.
Well, my father actually had 3 different kinds of cancer, and after the first one, the doctor told him he only had about 6 months, and he lived for 22 years.
Well, doctors aren't always right.
Yep.
I mean, if they're
No,
always
I'm just saying that, yeah, they do have some treatments that are more effective that can hold it off for a much longer time now.
Porpoise, look at your picture on the screen. Fix it.
The picture was
had
fine.
Porpoise. But at least we can hear you.
How long, though?
I was going to be okay with half a porpoise as long as we had a voice.
So how's it feel to have graduated now?
Well, I start my master's in June or January. It's fine. I mean, I've gone from being the sinister porpoise to the sinister porpoise Bachelor of Science, which means nothing whatsoever.
Just say BS.
Yep, the sinister porpoise is BS.
Yeah, that's what my dad would say. He's just full BS, so he got a BS.
It's just some letters after my name that don't really mean anything, except when applying for certain jobs.
Wow, on TV right now on PBS, there's a film from under the water, and it's looking at a bunch of salmon, and it's a whole herd of salmon. So it's like completely dense. I've never seen that many salmon in my life. It's really cool.
Oh yeah, when they're spawning, they're just thick in the river.
It's really neat to watch them jump and stuff. There were salmon in Lake Michigan that they planted, and they started to spawn in the local rivers. And one river, the Milwaukee River, they took out one particular dam to let the river flow freely again, and that's when the salmon started showing up again. And they get to a place called Lincoln Park, I can't remember the park name. I can't believe I can't remember the park name. I've been there since a child. Anyways, it's right on the river, and there's a small dam on that too, but it wasn't a flood control dam or anything. It was an aesthetic kind of dam, so it only raised the water level a little bit, just so they had a little waterfall and that kind of thing. But the salmon could jump because it was only about 4 or 5 feet tall. And it was so cool to sit there and watch him jump in that thing. It was just amazing how they can fucking do that.
To watch, yeah.
And
I've only seen him on TV. I've never seen it live.
Of course, people fished there during the spawning.
I'm guessing illegally.
Pardon?
I'm guessing illegally.
No.
Oh.
Not many caught anything, but they certainly were trying out there.
Doesn't Lake Michigan Doesn't Lake Michigan kill the highest number of swimmers of all the Great Lakes?
I wouldn't know that one.
Has it?
I think that's true.
I think for the salmon that some of the things they've invented to get them around the dams are truly comical. I saw one that the salmon swim into this tube, and it drops them into a pneumatic cannon that launches them about 20 feet into the air to get them over the dam.
I've seen this other fish ladder where it's a pneumatic tube, except it's filled with water, and it shoots them through the tube like 100 yards or something like that. It looks like, I don't know how long it is.
So
At like 40, 50 miles an hour, just.
is this a salmon species that's specific to Lake Michigan and the Great Lakes, or?
No, these are all imports. They're coho salmon, king salmon, and two other strains, but they're all fed by the
So which salmon is the
DNR.
king
But
of
now they're
coho?
starting to breed, so it's kind of cool.
Are they Atlantic or Pacific?
I'm not. I think Pacific, because I think I've heard a coho particularly mentioned in things I've heard about the West,
Well,
Northwest.
coho is a specific salmon.
Mm-hmm. So are the others, king salmon, and I want to say emperor, but that's not right.
If I'm recalling things correctly, Atlantic salmon do not have to return to the same stream to spawn, and do not die after spawning, but Pacific salmon do.
Okay, so the Atlantic ones would be more adaptable to putting into a new river.
Oh, okay. If that's true, then they're definitely Pacific, because all I've ever heard about is the DNR talking about, well, at some point we're expecting them to start moving up the river and reestablishing spawning grounds and blah blah blah. So
Well, they still have spawning grounds. It's just take it with a grain of salt. I'm not a marine biologist.
oh yes, you are. You live right by that big ocean in Indiana.
You mean the Wabash River?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's not an ocean.
For Indiana, it is.
It's not even as big as the Ohio.
Herd of cows, parliament of owls, bouquet of peacocks,
Mob of kangaroos and a conspiracy of lemurs.
You know, all those really fit.
But a fluffle of rabbits.
Oh, really? Is that what it is? A fluffle?
Yes.
FLUFFLE? Or
Yes.
EL?
LE, I believe, but
A tower of giraffes. I didn't know that one, but very appropriate.
Chinook is the other one. Oh, that is a king. Oh, I didn't know that. So I guess there's not 5, there's 4. We also have
is that an unlated African or European salmon?
We also have lake trout and German brown trout. And although I think the German is an invasive species, it pretty much sustains itself in the lake now.
Okay.
The other thing that the DNR started in Wisconsin in the last couple of years is to plant what do you call it? The sturgeons, and they do the river thing at breeding as well. And so they've been picking specific rivers that have been cleaned up enough to tolerate the for the fry to tolerate, and they're releasing sturgeon at the headwaters of various rivers to, move down the river and into the lake again at some point. There's lots of sturgeon in Lake Michigan. They're just too far away to get for most people.
Listen, we all know the Great Lakes don't exist. Sorry.
Because you can only catch sturgeon by spear.
Hey, if it wasn't for the Great Lakes, Canada would come crashing down onto the United States.
Listen, the Great Lakes, Lake Switzerland, do not exist.
If it wasn't for the Great Lakes, Chicago would have nothing to flush its toilets into.
I think Chicago... I'm sorry. I was about to make a comment about Chicago that I don't need to make.
Well, there is that. Chicago had to make the river flow backwards.
The Des Plaines. Or is it the Des Plaines River they did that to? Oh, yeah, I think it was. They made it flow backwards to the Mississippi, and that's where they put their sludge.
Yep.
But now they've got so much it's overflowing into Lake Michigan, and so Milwaukee is suing them, or was, which is interesting because 40 years ago, Chicago sued Milwaukee for the same thing.
But now they're sewering them.
Oh,
What is a group of buffaloes called a herd, I believe?
Yeah, I think any bovine would be a herd, but maybe they've got a specific name for them. A group of baboons is called a congress, which I think is appropriate for our legislature.
mm-hmm. But then why are crows a murder? Have you ever seen them commit a murder?
Crows are associated with death. That's not really.
Oh, all right.
I thought it was a murder, and that no, you didn't ever see them because they were good at hiding the body.
And only 2 crows is an attempted murder.
A dingle of mice?
I'm sure it
that's
has a
cute.
link for the Seattle fish ladder.
Yeah, I think Seattle fish ladders. I think fish ladders are out uncommon throughout the Pacific Northwest.
Yep.
Let's see, raccoons. Raccoons
Okay,
should
a
be
group of buffaloes is a gang or an obstinacy.
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 Okay.
Raccoons could be a gang of thieves.
Is
that
it
would
an
just-
Acme of Roadrunners? Or sorry, Acme of Coyotes?
Mm-hmm.
See, I would love to see Warner Brothers make a cartoon based on Wile E. Coyote suing Acme for all the defective merchandise he got over all the years.
They've made that.
I think
Really?
they did, and it got canceled for unknown reasons.
Oh,
It
I
does
never got to
exist.
see it.
Oh, it's got to be out there somewhere. Hey,
sure I
back.
I'm sure I can find it.
Back.
A float of crocodiles. Hey, Beck. Yeah, Beck has also volunteered for the Christmas marathon and said that he would just, fill in some empty spaces that were left.
And apparently the that movie that was supposed to come out with Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner was supposed to be based on them Wile E. Coyote suing Acme. It was based on that episode, apparently.
Okay, yeah, I heard that they had canceled a movie they were making, and
Which
that some of the artists involved were really upset because it was basically done.
Yeah, it was.
So why they didn't release it, I don't get.
well, I get Batwoman not being released because apparently that was terrible.
Mm.
But I think everyone would have paid to see the Roadrunner movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, it would just have so much nostalgia value, even if it wasn't good. It would sell a lot of tickets.
Also, Rural King has some really good cheesy popcorn.
Penny, what are you doing?
I think she's solving the P versus NP problem.
My little
It could be.
my little toy shark is biting the microphone.
Oh,
Or she's looking for the wreck of the Marquette and Bessemer #2 in the wrong Great Lake.
It's one of my most favorite things I've bought for years. It was this little plastic box of candy about almost 3.5, 4 inches long and about half an inch, 3/4 of an inch wide, and it had just hard, yucky Mexican or Chinese or bad candy. It was just it was terrible. But on the other end of it, where normally there would be the cap, is this this thing you see. Coat racks used to be made out of it. The X's of wood that pivot on each other and all that stuff. And that's what they have on the for the neck of the shark. And when you push the button, it lunges out and bites. And so I found it very useful to play with.
Well, a group of Karens is called a complaint.
That tracks.
blah blah do 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 do, blah blah do do do.
Did you know there's a language called Karen in Southeast Asia?
Anyways,
How
if
many
you go
words does it?
if you go to TikTok, you can see the video I made of the shark.
How many ways does it have to ask to see someone's manager?
I don't know.
I'm imagining it's a language that is all high-pitched shrills.
It's probably just an unfortunate name. But
Yeah, I'm sure it existed before the name was being used that way. I do feel sorry for women who actually are like adults now who are named Karen.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, because what can they do? Do they have to just now resort to using their middle name, or
I know a psychologist named Karen. Well, excuse me, she spelled it with a C, and it was Karen.
Oh, God, excuse me.
But she was nice. We were friends. But I could see her just getting lividly upset at the whole concept behind Karen. She was kind of a Karen herself that way.
a pandemonium of parrots, and it also is a plethora of cats.
clouder. It's a clouder of cats.
A clouder now? Okay. A scream of TV.
Peacocks have a particular name. A fan of peacocks, I think.
Ah.
I think the Slothgirl had that one earlier, but now I've got to scroll back to find it.
Yeah, I can't remember
Yeah,
where I saw it, but I know it's imprinted
A
somewhere. in
bouquet
there.
of peacocks.
A bouquet. It's a bouquet.
Bouquet. It's a bouquet.
No, you're in Indiana. They pronounce it wrong.
But I'm Pennsylvanian, and everything we do in Pennsylvania is right, even if the rest of the world does it wrong. Like everyone thinks pot pie has a crust. No, pot pie is a kind of soup.
I came across something on the internet that just blew me away last week. It was a brief history of Popeye, and according to this
Popeye,
thing,
not
and they had a photograph too of this real guy. It was obviously an old photograph, turn of the century, maybe a little older, and the guy looked just like Popeye with the kind of mouth shape and how the cheeks puff out a little bit, and the eyes being kind of closed and all that kind of stuff. And the guy was a dock worker kind of guy, or on a ship somewhere, and some author got to know them, and he actually had the habit of eating spinach, and he actually was a really strong guy.
Massive tumors on his arms.
I don't know about that. Probably anchors though. And so that it's supposedly a legitimate real life person with a history that it was the character was modeled after.
Okay, but
I
I said
don't know. That
pot
seems suspicious.
pie,
And I have to disagree.
not Popeye.
The contents of pot pie wouldn't be soup; it would be stew. It's too
Yeah.
thick to be soup.
Okay,
It better be too
fair
thick.
enough.
I didn't say anything about
Yes,
soup.
yes. It
No,
makes sense to me,
Porpoise
too.
said a pot pie is soup.
Oh.
Yo, Jenny
No.
talked about a cartoon character then.
Yep.
Named Popeye, which is a different.
Now see,
Wait a minute.
I
Don't you know
would have
Popeye?
taken this explanation for Popeye, except that this is Jenny, so I'm never sure whether or not I should believe anything she says.
Sinister.
Well,
do
the
you not
reason I'm
do you not know
sus-
Popeye?
Yes, but I was talking about pot pie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the reason I'm sus is because before the cartoon with the spinach, Popeye was a radio play where he sold cornflake cereal. It wasn't spinach that gave him his power. It was that particular cereal who was the sponsor of the show. So there being a real Popeye who was into spinach, that doesn't track because originally he sold cereal and it only switched to spinach because they changed the sponsor. So now it was that sponsor, the Spinach Growers of America.
What?
It'd just be too much of a coincidence for the
maybe-
real
maybe-
Popeye to like spinach
Maybe
and then
they
the
changed.
replacement sponsor.
Maybe
would be
they
spinach.
changed it to cornflakes from spinach to satisfy those marketers. That's what I
Yeah,
suspect.
It could be that they just, made it cornflakes on the radio play because that was who was willing to sponsor it.
Cornflakes first were sold, I think they said 1896, something like
Yeah,
that.
I was wondering if he was pushing cornflakes while the Kellogg's brothers were running their I forget what they called it. I'm going to say sanitarium, but that's not the right
no.
term.
It was a brothel.
It's close.
No.
Listen, I live in a city where all the buildings in the historic district that they never tell you what they're historic for, they were all either casinos or brothels.
Well, that's a good idea.
And I had to look that one up on my own, and then I was snickering about it for weeks.
Maybe that
Because all
explains
these
why.
buildings are preserved as historical landmarks because they were used for something that's now illegal.
Okay, it looks like the Popeye thing with the cereal was because they were sponsored by Wheatina, and they replaced the spinach references with the cereal references.
Okay, so Jenny's actually got that part
And
right.
that was due to the radio broadcasts.
And I just can't imagine that Popeye on the radio would be all that entertaining.
Well,
It
and
was
olive
alright.
oil was modeled after the microphone stand that they used.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's kind of nasty, but I like it.
Yeah.
Porpoise, I think we lost your sound again.
Good.
Yep. Yeah, Porpoise has been muted.
Windows found out that you want to buy a Mac.
Okay, cats. A clouder, pounce, or glaring. A glaring of cats makes sense.
Pounce does too.
For kittens, a kindle, litter, or intrigue.
God, kittens are
So,
so fucking
wait a
cute.
minute. So if I buy a baby cat, I can read ebooks off of it? Welcome back.
Question is, okay, you
Yep,
can hear me.
I can hear you.
I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to roll back a Windows update, I think.
Well, you could do it after the show. You don't have to leave. It's not that critical, you know. Come on, jeez. Don't desert us.
Yeah, Godless Granny. Hi, we didn't know you were here. She likes a pounce of cats. And actually, yeah, in my novel now, I'm going to have to use a pounce of cats.
Pounce of cats.
Since
I'm
Slothgirl
gonna use
says
it
that's a
first.
legitimate term for a group of cats, I'm going to have to use that.
Hi,
An
Kelly.
intrigue of kittens.
I like there's a book series. Well, it's a series now, but it's a steampunk book by Jim Butcher, and the cats all have like they're like intelligent, have their own society, and they'll hang out around humans, and they won't demand payment, but if the humans don't leave like gifts for their pest removal services, they'll just move away.
What
Well,
what-
that's the main character in my novel is an alien who disguises himself as a cat just so he can walk around people without being noticed.
what day is Christmas?
The 25th.
Yes, I'm pretty sure they haven't changed that.
Yeah, Christmas Eve is a Sunday. Christmas Day
Monday.
is Monday.
So that's this weekend.
Yes.
Yep, it's
Look
less
up
than a
on-
week away now.
Snuck up on you.
Oh fuck! I'm gonna have to take a shower.
Don't you hate when you have to do that?
Oh yeah, no kidding. What a waste of soap.
Listen,
Of course, then I can do the dishes at the same time, so that's good.
There you go.
at least you don't have to. At least you don't have to dress up in a ridiculous blue and white robe.
That would be no fun. Yes.
Actually, I might have a picture of that. Let me see.
Jesus, a man in a dress telling stories to children.
Yeah, no, don't dress
Cat
up
Jesus
as
is the best
for
Jesus.
Christmas. You'd have to run around in just a diaper.
Oh, that's baby Jesus.
Yeah, well, that's
know,
what Christmas is about.
No,
It
Mark.
just occurred to me yesterday. I don't have a zombie Jesus. I have cat Jesus. I have strawberry Jesus. I have facepalm Jesus is around here somewhere. But I don't have a zombie Jesus. So yeah. So I've got people over in my community tab voting on whether it should be the skeletal Messiah or the skeleton Savior or moldering Messiah. I'm messing up my own puns. Don't
Oh,
mind me.
I'd go with the moldering.
Yeah, he wouldn't be a skeleton because 3 days wouldn't be long enough for all the flesh to disappear.
Yeah, but it's been 2,000 years. Like, how would he look today?
I think it'd look like hell. That's just a long time.
Oh, hell Jesus, I have.
I mean, mosquito bites alone could just scar you like terrible for over 2,000 years. Dog bites, all that stuff.
Slothgirl votes for cheddar cheeses.
Boy.
Now, Ember, you flashed those by kind of fast, but that strawberry Jesus could have easily been mistaken for Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah, strawberry Jesus. I love strawberry
Yeah,
Jesus because he's a little fruity.
Yep.
That can't be Jesus. It's white.
Well, like many things I do on my channel, this one was voted on by the people who stopped by. I actually had like 4 options for this one, and they
they're
liked
wrong.
the strawberry
That's-
Jesus best.
That they're wrong. That's Santa. God damn it.
Yeah, it does look more like Santa.
I mean, Santa was originally from Turkey, so he was probably Middle Eastern looking too, but details.
Wow.
Oh, now that I got a question. If Santa is from Turkey, why is that why we have ham?
First of all, he means Saint Nicholas, not Santa Claus.
If he's
Left
from
from
Turkey,
Turkey.
wouldn't you think that we would honor him by eating turkey?
Well, see, they used to do that, and they still do in most of the world. But in the U.S., historically, the turkey flocks have not replenished since Thanksgiving. So,
Well, actually, the reason some people do eat turkey for Christmas in the U.S., but the more Germanic areas, they eat ham because that's the German tradition. And it
I
just
always
stuck
had
with them.
turkey, but I'm also from North America, where, turkey is from.
I'm also from North America, but we had ham.
I would prefer turkey or pigeon. They're cheaper.
when I was growing up, we would have like 75 people coming through the house for the buffet. So there would be turkey and ham.
Because the Pennsylvania Dutch are German and Swiss.
See, our
Makes sense.
our family always had a tradition that nobody came as just an attender of the party. That we were all
Yep.
beggars. we're simulating the manger. That's it. We're simulating the manger scene, and so we're all tramps and beggars. And
We have had several new people joining in the last half hour, so I have to do the update for Slothgirl. We were at the doctor yesterday. She had x-rays, and it appears that the chemo drug she's on now is helping. It's not going to cure it, but it has prevented it from spreading or growing any further. So basically right now it's just it's at the same point that it was on when she started this drug a month ago. So it is buying her more time. And that's the main thing they were concerned with, is if they could keep it from spreading to other organs.
Slothgirl gets a W.
Yep. Slothgirl is going to be with us for a while longer.
I've never had goose. I've always kind of wondered.
Me either. I raised gooses, geeses, and
Well-
ganders on the farm I grew up on, so we weren't allowed to eat anything that had a name, so I never actually had goose.
Does that mean you're the gooselator?
I mean, maybe goose later. I don't know. I've had goose eggs, though. Those are fantastic.
Athena, do you want my
Yeah.
attention?
I haven't had goose, but I've had duck. And I expect it's similar. The main thing is that with waterfowl, of course, they're going to have that extra layer of fat to keep them insulated when they're in the cold water.
Yep.
So it's going to be a lot greasier than turkey or chicken would be.
Yep, but it's so fucking greasy tasty. Duck is wonderful.
If it's cooked right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Antir says, one of the miracles that gained Nicholas his sainthood is purportedly saving children after they'd been kidnapped, ground up, made into sausage, and pickled, and he turned them back into children.
That's bullshit. Look how fat he was.
Although I
mean,
remember
that's
hearing that story, but I didn't know what country it had come from.
a
About
better
the
miracle
children
than
being
Jesus.
ground into sausage, and that somehow he revived them.
That'd be more of a. It sounds more of a Krampus thing. Grinding him up into.
Actually, he outperformed Jesus a lot. Like the miracle that I turned up in doing research on the original Saint Nick was the city of Myra was experiencing a food shortage. Like only one grain barge came in, and it wasn't enough for the whole city. So Saint Nick, twitched his nose or whatever the fuck he did, and there was magically enough grain on there that it would take 5 ships, and it was enough for the city, and nobody starved.
I love Christmas origin stories and Saint Nick origin stories because I've never heard two the same.
Yep.
It's pretty neat, huh?
Yeah, it's whatever.
But I mean, like,
you want it to
every
be.
miracle this guy does outshines Jesus. Like, Jesus raises one Lazarus. Santa's like, watch this, bitches, and turns sausages back into children. Jesus does loaves and fishes for 5,000. St. Nick is like, fuck you, I'm feeding this entire city,
I'm still not impressed by Jesus. Yeah, he came back from the dead, but he only did it once. Optimus Prime did it at least 5 times.
Yeah, it took him 3 days to respawn. I mean, that's terrible. That's a terrible respawn rate.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
but-
not his fault. That's the patch. The developers did it.
Yeah, but Optimus Prime in one timeline line ends up as the pawn of Omicron.
Well, he
Conspiring
did
with
come back
Megatron.
one time as a zombie controlled by the Quintessons. I wasn't actually even counting that one as coming back from the dead.
Oh man, somebody had to say sausage in front of Slothgirl. Oh man, this is gonna go on forever.
Yeah,
Sausages.
yeah, anytime there's a sausage festival, the Germans will always send their worst.
I love knockwurst. They're like a really thick hot dog. They're about 2 inches, usually about 2 inches or so thick, and they're very popular.
Oh yeah, I love the ones.
Oh God, I'm sorry. I have these thoughts. I can't help it. They just come to me.
Jesus may have died for our sins, but Prometheus got chained to a rock for eternity to give us fire.
Yep.
Jesus had a really bummer of a weekend for our sins.
Dude, one time I got so wasted, I passed out, and I woke up 3 days later in a tomb.
Beck, I said hi before. Beck.
I do love the memes I see this time of year. It's like Christianity. How one woman's lie to cover up her affair got too far out of hand.
For real.
Don't worry, my husband's an idiot. He'll buy the whole Immaculate Conception story.
But
You
the
know, if you want-
Immaculate Conception isn't Jesus, it's Mary.
If you want to bring this story into street terms, that guy or thing or whatever it was that they worshipped and stuff like that. It wasn't Immaculate Conception. It was a grievous attack and kidnapping and forced pregnancy. So God was a Republican, as it turns out.
Yeah. Well, I grew up surrounded by Jewish mothers, so I was always convinced that, Joseph and Mary fooled around before the wedding. She got pregnant, and Joseph's mother said, okay, this is what we're going to tell the aunts so they don't keep gossiping about it.
I mean, I feel like that was an open secret in the 1st century because, like, half of the bloodlines listed in the Gospels go through Joseph. Like, they knew he was Joseph's kid.
But they just made that stuff up because in the first century, nobody knew that Jesus ever existed because he died and everybody ignored it. And it took 400 years until somebody said, hey, we could sell some books on this shit.
Yeah. Okay,
I heard-
Antir said 2 European traditions you have to look up are the Kaganer and Tio di Nadala. I know I've heard of the Kaganer.
Tio de Nadal.
Mark, that is just
Wow.
that is really bad. That is just pretty much the worst. It's-
Yeah, we're going to have to remember that one. Personally, I know how we can sell the metric system to the US. I mean, what guy wouldn't rather say he's 15 rather than 6? And what woman wouldn't rather say when she steps on the scale it's under 100?
Good point.
Yeah, but then we wind up with the weird British thing where they use different things use different systems of measurement for different things.
Yes, one thing is a pound, another thing is a stone. Like,
Well, that's the
what the
same
fuck is
system of
going on here?
measurement.
Let's not forget
Those are both
hands.
imperial measurements.
How many hands is that horse? And I've
Yeah,
seen
hands
horses.
for
They're
horses,
big enough.
distance in feet.
They're big
when
enough
they're
that
not
you'd have to lay down there and then use 2 hands. They're just that
Yeah.
big.
I think we should all switch to the Kelvin scale for temperature measurement.
I agree.
Why are horses measured in hands? And I've never heard that measurement used for anything else.
I just
'Cause-
explained it.
Because you can't get them to lay down.
Because they didn't have tape measures then.
Sheep. Okay, I don't even want to
Okay,
know.
who are they coming for this time?
Bad boys, what you gonna do?
Not the fire
What
truck.
you gonna do when they come for you?
Not me, but they got me last weekend, and I made bail, so that's why I can't be here.
Oh, all right.
I mean, they're probably not going out to the university apartments because they should be largely empty this time of year.
Yeah, but everybody's hands is big, different size. I mean, which is bigger, your hand or little Donny Boy Trump? He's got those little microscopic claws that he uses.
Sheep
That's
play
not
an
right.
important part in Scottish measurements. I'm not sure I want to know how.
I'm sure you don't either. Let's not bring up the person who quoted Mein Kampf and then reminded America how illiterate he was.
Yeah.
He denied in a interview, I think it was yesterday or day before, that he's never read.
Yeah, you can just stop there.
Adolf's manuscript.
Yeah. Well, and we
I-
can all believe that he has never read a book in his life. That's totally feasible in his case.
I have no problem believing. You could have just stopped at the end of the sentence he's never read. No one has a problem believing that. But I don't believe he's that ignorant of these quotes. I think he knows who his face is, and he's trying to play to it.
I'm sure he does because that's what his father was involved in bringing him up.
Yeah, Daddy was a KKKer, wasn't he? Or John Birch, one of the two.
Yeah, he was in the KKK.
That explains a lot.
They have
Oh,
pictures
yeah.
of him wearing the sheet.
He was absolutely raised in the most racist times of America's history. He's old enough to have a very good
Damn.
personal memory of the 50s.
Damn it. So close. You couldn't have waited another 5 minutes. We almost went a full 2 hours without talking about politics. I was really going for that today.
Are you sure that stuff earlier about the 14th Amendment and the election stuff didn't count as politics?
I'm
Okay,
pretty sure of that.
yeah, you're right. I forgot we had covered that.
Nanny, boo, boo.
Just one day.
And
Oh.
Sammy is telling me that I've been on more than 2 hours and knocking the keyboard out of my lap.
It hasn't been quite 2 hours yet.
Well, we haven't been live on the stream for 2 hours, but I've been on the computer more than 2 hours.
Yeah.
Slothgirl, that
It
is
is time.
that is highly funny.
It is lap time.
You can't argue with a cat and expect to win.
Okay. Victoria says it doesn't count as politics. We're just talking about dumb people.
Well, I can give you some things about dumb people. I talked to a guy last night on TikTok who was absolutely insistent that children in schools are going to school dressed as cats and using litter boxes because he's seen it himself.
Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah, of course he was. I'm not going to tell you what school it was. Okay, I get it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he heard it on Fox News once after MTG said it on the floor of Congress once after making it up.
Yeah,
Joe
you
Rogan
haven't
said
seen
it.
that kind of thing unless you've gone to a furry convention.
And Joe Rogan.
Even then.
I've
Even
always
then, I don't
wondered
think
what
Oh
furry
shit,
is
was it on
funny.
Joe Rogan?
what would the bathrooms be like at a furry convention?
They
Crowded.
look a lot like regular bathrooms. Yeah.
Speaking of which, when my sister and niece came up, I got them keychains for the university, and one had the university mascot on it. So my sister just has to ask me because the mascot is an anthropomorphic squirrel. It's like, is your mascot a furry? I explained, no, it's an anthropomorphic squirrel.
Yeah,
Because it's like you can't really make a good mascot out of a sycamore tree.
I was embarrassed
Why?
talking about furries and stuff. I had my shrink appointment Monday. Yeah, I think it was Monday. But I couldn't get there, so we did it on video. And I'm so embarrassed. All the time that we were online together, my teddy bear was in the picture. And I just didn't notice it. But my shrink commented on it at the end. So
no.
now she knows something I never intended to tell her.
Actually, I heard that rumor go around where I work, but never at any school anyone actually went to. So people like to tell stories and not fact check things.
Yeah, as far as the teddy bear, Jenny, I think we need to accept that it is normal for adults to have stuffed toys in their bed.
I have a number of stuffed toys.
I don't have any in my bed, but there is this plushy porpoise back there.
Yeah, but my teddy bear is like naked, worn, and looks very, very tired. Never mind. We got 2 new TV stations around here.
Oh,
I don't know the names of either. No, I know the name of one. I'll mispronounce it though. I think it's Griot.
we lost Purple.
Yep.
Bye, Perp.
So you were saying?
Yeah, tell us about the TV stations.
Oh, and the other one is I don't know, but it's like it's there, and they have very limited schedules right now. They're only on it like about looks like 5, 6, 7 hours a day,
Then I don't get what the point is then, but whatever.
and that's half of that time is paid infomercials.
There's the point.
So I'm sure they'll be fine later, but it's kind of funny now.
Especially since people aren't watching as much TV anymore. But
Again, most TV stations are mostly just commercials.
Yeah, and sure, that's absolutely correct. But somebody along the line was aware of that, and you know how the game telephone works, and it just morphed into this thing that kids are identifying as cats in the in the litter box. I don't understand why conservatives get wildly angry and demanding and controlling when you talk to furries about them. It's like what why does this upset you so much?
Why would I talk to furries? Are not something I regularly talk about, and
Well, exactly. These guys talk about it like there's this whole major movement of billions of people that are furries, and they're trying to warp the entire nation's morality.
I don't see the issue. I don't see the issue with furries. So what? They're into what? Anthropomorphic animals. So what?
Yeah, well, it's the mermaids you got to question.
And
They-
it just got back to stool.
They just don't get that people like to have fun.
Oh no, that's not legal in this country. That's un-American. It's un-Christian. Yeah, everybody probably knows some furries and doesn't even know because it's not like they walk around in their fursuits all the time.
Mm-hmm.
well, I've definitely known some people I've known were furries, but like,
Yeah,
But
I
at
love
the same
furries.
time,
They're
like,
usually really
whatever.
nice people.
just because something's not my thing, it doesn't. It's like they're not hurting me.
I'd be a furry, but my body shape would be not a furry animal because hippos live in the river.
They're all kinds.
Thank you, Ember.
I was just trying to change my avatar to show off the one that Slothgirl got me for my birthday, and it gave me such a problem getting back in here.
Yeah, that's nice.
There we are.
Ooh, you got a royal blue Blaha.
Well,
Purple.
my camera's colors are off. It's actually very purple.
Ooh,
Purple.
you got a purple Blaha.
Yep. Slothgirl found me a big purple one, and this one's it's a full meter long.
Ooh, that's the expensive one.
Yep. So he sits on the
Nice.
cat tower behind me all the time when I'm streaming.
Oh, for a minute there, I thought Slothgirl was asking when two Vulcans get into an argument, and I wasn't getting that one.
Sloth girl, you need to be so glad I don't live there. I would be spanking you so bad right now.
She might enjoy that.
Well,
It'd be the closest thing she's had to sex for years.
me too. Yeah, that's another one I heard the other night online is all these kids in their late 20s, early 30s complaining about how they haven't had sex in 6-7 months now. Dudes,
Yeah.
let me tell you a story.
Sex is overrated.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
At this point, anyone who's gone less than 5 years, just tell them to shut up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it's not double digits, it's not a long time at all.
Yeah. Okay, and Anchor is right about this, that the cat litter myth was based on them having buckets of cat litter as emergency toilets, which I'm sure that they never actually tried because it doesn't work. A bucket of cat litter is inadequate for the amount that a human puts out.
Yeah, I think it's more probably so. Schools often keep some of that speedy dry stuff around in case of spills of any kind, including a leaky kindergartner. And I can see a kid asking a school janitor, "Oh, is that cat litter? What's that for?" And the janitor snarkily saying, "Oh, it's an emergency toilet." And
Well-
somehow that passes into fact, you know?
No, I could actually see them, having a bucket of cat litter in the closets with them doing the lockdown drills.
What triggered the whole cat
Okay.
litter movement thing It apparently was just talk on the streets and shit like that. But one politician, and I saw the video, brought it up at a county supervisor, session or whatever it was, where they're all there and talking about passing bullshit laws. And then it took off from there. That somebody else heard it and assumed it was really true. And so they just passed it on. It hit the echo chambers, the right-wing echo chambers, and it just exploded within days.
Yeah, that's as far as I ever managed to trace it too, is somebody just basically made it up and presented it in public. And Fox News ran with it, and it became fact in the alt-right nonsensiverse.
Which is exactly how the transgender danger to women in the bathroom bullshit happened. There's a couple of guys in the UK made it up, started to spread it. It took and went like wildfire, and then it spread over here. And how do we know it? Because they were interviewed by Pink News, an online magazine, and they admitted that's what happened and that it was all a lie, and they purposely did it, and they laughed about it. And you can download those articles from Pink News if you want to go do your research, man. These people, I swear, they're just such idiots. You're talking about these highly advanced biological concepts that these guys have got. They can't even spell mitochondria,
Yeah.
And they just XX and XY, It's like, honey, biology is a lot more intense than that. There's 17 different derivations of XXX and XY. What genders do you want to call those? Okay, let's work on that.
Well, I'm surprised about Richard Dawkins, considering he should know better.
He really should.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it
can't
drives me so
understand the
crazy.
position he takes.
Because as a biologist, nothing in biology is ever a binary. And yet he's like, but this one particular thing, just with humans, it's the one exception.
Oh, I've never heard him talk about that. That must be a riot.
Yeah. I think Andrea's right about this, that they had emergency toilets and they just wanted to take something that was made necessary by them refusing to do anything about gun control and turn it into something woke so they could blame the left for it.
Mm-hmm.
That tracks.
No doubt.
Because, that's the hallmark of the right. If it's not projection or distraction, it's a refusal to own up to consequences or even consider consequences.
Yeah.
Every accusation is a confession. Damn
Well, that's
Republicans.
why they consider, the whole free speech thing. They consider that to be their right to be bigots without consequences.
Yeah, that is what the effect that Trump had, is allowed them all to be the horrible people they are.
Okay, well, there are a lot of speculation, but essentially this whole thing started because Joe Rogan made it up.
Damn it, Joe Rogan.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He even
That's
admitted
certainly
to it.
believable.
And because apparently Joe Rogan is like an expert on everything,
I mean, what MMA fighter isn't?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Zuckerberg's a weak ass. He couldn't even get Elon Musk to fight him.
Well, I mean, Elon issued the challenge, and Zuckerberg replied, send time and location or whatever, and Elon just never followed up on it.
Yeah, he does that a lot.
Gee, isn't that like when you challenge a flat earther to a debate?
It depends. I have had flat earthers show up from time to time. I'm still waiting on an explanation for how the fuck a lunar eclipse works, though.
Dragons.
What?
Yeah, perfectly round dragons move in front of the moon.
Oh, well, that explains the Dragon Mountain range that Roger of Mud Fossil University showed us.
But they do it very slowly.
No, they eat the moon and then they shit it back out.
All right. What?
Yeah,
What?
so
what?
that mountain range is one of the dragons that they shot down.
Listen, it's important not to give flat earthers attention because I think even they know they're making stuff up. And honestly, they're not a threat to anyone. They have no real power. No one's ever going to take them seriously.
Well, except that some people do take them seriously, and it can be a gateway into a lot of other conspiracies.
Well, no, that's only partially correct. The people who are into flat Earth are of the conspiracy profile. That there's a group of people that believe everything they hear. That they think the worst of society, so they assume that everybody's in on it, and that it's all directed at them. And they didn't become a flat earther and then become something else. They learned about all of these mythologies and sucks into virtually every damn one.
So you're saying it's a special kind of extreme paranoid delusion?
Yeah, I think so. I think
They
we
think that
underuse
everybody in the world is part of a conspiracy against them.
Mm-hmm. I think we tend to avoid labeling certain behaviors as what they are.
Yeah.
I consider extreme right wing politics to be a mental illness. I won't mention religion because that gets people really upset. But
yeah, you're right. Even the conspiracies, people don't want to label any of the conspiracies as a delusion. But what else can you call them after they're presented with the facts year after year?
And if you're wondering, what I was referring to is the Bakanawa. It's a serpent-like dragon from the Philippine mythology that tries to eat the moon as an explanation for eclipses.
How could they eat the moon? The moon is plasma. That's what the flat earther told me.
Yeah, the original story of the Iron Giant.
Margaret Thatcher?
The end of that story was the Iron Giant fighting a dragon that was the size of Australia.
That's a big-ass dragon.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Australia doesn't actually exist, though.
Oh, okay. I knew there'd have to be a loophole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I keep getting a couple of people popping up who say they're from New Zealand. And we know Australia doesn't exist and New Zealand is just Australia's imaginary friend.
That checks out.
No, New Zealand is where they tell you they're from because they don't want to admit they're from Middle Earth.
But you can tell by the feet.
Yes.
I'll be right back. I got a wee-wee.
Gyre bagging. I don't know. There's a lot of things that go into making a flat earther a flat earther. Like as with most things, there's never a single cause. The ones that I've managed to get to actually have a conversation and delve into the depths of their beliefs, it looks like it's usually just layers upon layers of justification because they're at the very core, they're young earth creationist Bible believers. And they need to wrap layers and layers and layers of nonsense around it so that when they're questioned, the questions never penetrate to that innermost irrationality.
But we all have irrational beliefs.
Yeah.
Like, for example, that left-handed scissors will someday be sharp.
If you watch a crime at the Apple Store, does that make you an eyewitness?
I mean, considering the prices they're charging, that happens every day. All day, every day.
So, Mark, are you disappointed because all the sheep where you are ugly? Actually, there's a reason for the whole conspiracy thing about Australia not existing. The U.S. wants
it's on the other side of the coin.
No, the US wants you to believe Australia doesn't exist because that's where we've been dumping all the failed genetic experiments over the last 100 years.
Isn't it time to
That's
dump
why they
Trump
keep
there?
discovering new animals that are poisonous.
Hmm. I know. Beamsy showed us a tier list of Australia's deadliest critters. Of course, it include things like the drop bear and whatnot. And as terrifying as all those animals are, it actually does seem safer than living in a country 50% Republican-ish, where
Yeah.
sending your children to school is the most dangerous thing you can do, and
I
the
was gonna
second
say,
most
at least
is
most
sending
of
them
the
to
animals
church.
aren't carrying guns.
Yeah.
Listen, I personally enjoy being reminded on a yearly basis that I can get shot at work. I mean, technically
Yeah.
anyone can, but
And according to the state of Virginia, it's just one of the hazards of the job that you should expect.
the state of Virginia did not get away with that argument.
Oh, good, good. But one of my favorite YouTube clips, it's only a couple of minutes, is showing this guy skydiving in Australia. And as he's coming down, you see 3 kangaroos off in the distance. And just as he touches the ground, one of the kangaroos runs up, punches the shit out of him, and runs away.
That checks out. Hey, welcome to Australia. Fuck you.
Fuck you, and go over there and talk to those spiders.
An Australian mugging.
Yeah. Most days.
Yes, and our favorite Australian icon, a mammal that lays eggs, glows under black light, and is poisonous.
Well, venomous. But also, did you know that the platypus doesn't have a stomach? Tell me again how every living thing is designed. Kind of forgot a key part there.
Yeah, actually, the platypus also made the perfect argument. One of the, I think it might have been Hovind, but one of the young Earth creationists, were going on about, how could the mammaries have evolved that women give milk? And the platypus is a good example because it secretes milk but has no nipples.
Yeah. It forms the same way freaking anything does. Tissues start doing a thing and then they get better at it.
Yeah, well, the mammaries are actually modified sweat glands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the platypus digestive tract includes a small, well-expanded pouch-like section where one would normally expect the stomach to be. The stomach doesn't secrete digestive acids or enzymes, though it does contain Brunner's glands, which produce a mucus-rich fluid to assist this nutrient absorption.
Oh,
So,
and they had believed that there were only 3 monotremes in the world, the platypus and 2 species of echidnas.
has Kent Hovind gone on from his obsession with whale penises to mammary glands?
He's obsessed with penises, really? What a surprise.
Whale penises specifically.
Well, come on, that is what made Jackson Wheat famous.
That's because he thinks his is that size too.
Jackson Wheat will always be known as the whale penis guy. Just because Kent Hovind was going on about the whale penis.
How
So
could
Paula
anybody...
Gia and Shannon Q made it a joke in one of their videos, egging Jackson on to make a video about whale penises. So he did, and among the things in that video that most surprised me is he went to the Icelandic Penis Museum.
Hell yeah.
And it's like, this is a real place.
Well, sure, why not?
Yeah.
There's the Vagina Museum.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's various penis parties all over the
Iceland
planet.
has an entire natural history museum dedicated to just explaining the penises of all different animals.
Yeah, they have bacula from like hundreds of different species. But there's also I think is it a national park? Maybe it's only a state park. But in Japan, they have an actual penis park. It's a public park, full of statues of various penises of
Yeah, but
sizes and orientations and things.
when somebody approaches the state or the city council, asking for funding to build this, shouldn't somebody in the group say, I think this guy's got kind of a weird obsession?
See, 2019, a person purchased a 5.5 foot long whale penis is for, well, it was actually 4,600 pounds, translated to about $6,000.
Well, that's not bad. I was afraid it was going to hit like 750,000 or something.
Anyone a Toblerone?
Oh, that's going to attract Amber.
What now?
Toblerone.
I can't really have chocolate, so kind of meh.
Oh, Theo, did you not know that a platypus's fur is bioluminescent under ultraviolet light?
I have some.
Well,
white
it'd be
chocolate Toblerone.
fluorescent.
Yeah, fluorescent under ultraviolet light. That humans can't see it in the normal color range we see. You've got to subject it to ultraviolet, which a lot of animals do see.
Yeah, that's an important thing a lot of people forget, is that human vision is not even close to the best vision there is. They're like, a lot of flowers have ultraviolet markings because the insects can see it just fine. The flowers don't care that we can't see it.
I'll have you know that mine glow in the dark too.
Ah,
I had to install it during surgery.
Nice.
with a lot of insects seeing in ultraviolet, there are also many spiders that some of the silk they spin glows in the ultraviolet, because then they can weave patterns into their web that look like the background grass, so the insects don't see them as easily.
Orb weavers are known for that. The big black and yellow garden spiders.
Yep.
That freak out everybody even though they're harmless.
Yeah, when I lived in New York, we had a orb weaver that leg span was about as big as my hand span.
Mm-hmm.
And every night it did a web between the garden shed and the neighbor's fence, which was a span of nearly 9 feet. So even for a spider the size of my hand, that was a colossal web, and they built them new every night. They cut them down every day, and they rebuild them every night.
That's because most bugs they eat are highly caffeinated.
Yeah, but I saw where he hid during the day. It was in the eaves of our garden shed.
If anyone is interested, I left a picture in private chat, but that has nothing to do with what this conversation is about. I think we're talking about, I don't know, Kent Hovind's whale penis fetishes, but
Yeah, I forget. I forget who it was now, but there was a historical character that had a set of bar stools upholstered in the skin from a sperm whale penis, just so that whenever he had female guests over, he could tell the women they were sitting on the largest prick in the world.
that sounds like something a guy would very much do.
I think we should make it our mission to get a little army of us going. A very sleuth battalion, or a waddle of soldiers. I don't know. Anyways, they should mobilize, and their only mission is to get video of what Ken Hovind does with his 6-foot whale penis in private.
Yep. Okay, Mark Sear is saying that's another good reason to throw the coffee grounds into your garden. And you know what, Mark? Where that orb weaver spun its web was right over our compost pile. So that was where we were dumping the coffee grounds. So if he was walking across the ground to get from the shed to the fence to put the lines for the web, he was walking right through the coffee grounds. Australia has more venomous snakes than non-venomous ones.
Really? I didn't know that. That's scary as fuck.
It's trippy.
What's Ember sharing here?
This is the spectrum of the output of the sun.
Ah.
Because why is there so much stuff that's UV reactive? We tend to think of UV only being useful in the dark because it's the only time we can see it with a special light. But the sun produces almost as much UV light as it does in the visible spectrum. Our eyes just aren't adapted to it. So
Yep.
an eyeball that can see into UV can see UV even during the day.
I knew there were quite a lot of animals that could see it, and a lot of animals that have markings that only show up under a UV light.
Yeah, it's just our eyeballs are deficient.
Yeah.
I don't believe Matt Powell actually has that banana. I think that's just a joke that's gone too far.
Actually, our eyes actually designed to filter out UV. Even there have been some people who have had damage to their eyes and actually start being able to see some UV.
Interesting.
There is a growing group of women, it is women, who have 4 cones that can see up to ultraviolet, a little bit farther than most humans can, but they can't see ultraviolet.
They do look at animal
Tetrachromium.
eyes, and they find that some animals do have rods, cones, and like two or three different other types of sensory things in their eyes. So yeah, it makes perfect sense that they can see all sorts of shit we can't.
Yeah, the people who can see UV have reported that it's like a blue haze.
I don't know. It's So when you look at a rainbow, you know how the highest wavelengths are towards the middle. It's blue on the inside of the arch and it's red on the outside of the arch, and so on like that. I can see another color past blue and purple, but I wouldn't describe it as a haze. It looks almost like orange, but it's definitely not orange.
No, I mean the people who have had that damage where they can see that everything
I
has
see.
a slight blue haze to it.
Yeah, with damaged eyeballs, I suppose things could get wonky.
Because their eyes aren't filtering out that UV properly.
I wish the only thing that wasn't coming to my mind right now is the fact that dolphins get high using pufferfish.
Oh, yes. They pass it around. Puff
I'm
and
sure-
pass.
Puffer, pass.
Yeah, I'm sure there are other animals that get high.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
than
yeah.
humans, but
There's a shoot. Erica did a thing on it. Well, it wasn't the whole point of the video. It was just a thing she threw out in one of the videos. It was a while ago. I forget if she said it was baboons or chimps but there's another primate who like licks poisonous things to get high in their habitat.
Well, I always call the beginning of November drunken squirrel season, because it's when we see them staggering around after munching on all the fermented pumpkins. And in Africa, they have a real problem that some elephants will raid the villages to drink all the beer.
yeah. Yeah, I was reading 10 animals that love to get high, and the first one was elephants and beer and one other thing.
I'm not going to be the one that does the sobriety tests. No way.
I'd like to have the job where you have to climb into an elephant's ass.
Nope.
No. Mm-mm. No, that's a Republican job.
That's a real job, by the way.
Yeah, no thanks.
What's more, because elephants are pretty intelligent, and because of increasing interactions between our two species, they have learned that where there are humans, there is also alcohol. What makes this so scary is that elephants are mean drunks.
Fair.
There are reports of groups of elephants literally raiding and destroying villages in the drunken rage in their continuing quest for booze.
Can't they be good drunks? Come on.
They also have an acquired taste for the iboga plant, a powerful hallucinogen. They will eat it and get a pleasurably trippy high whenever they find it, and because the young learn from the old, it becomes a family event.
Yeah, farmers in Africa will play the sound of bees in their fields to keep the elephants away. Elephants don't want to risk upsetting a beehive.
Interesting.
That seems
You
wise.
can't blame them for that one.
Huh? And bears go at it like the bees don't even exist.
Yeah. And as far as the fermented fruit goes, again, when I was staying with my mom up in Michigan, we would see the deer picking up the apples off the ground. And yeah, a lot of times those had started to ferment and we could see the deer stagger away.
Wallabies will ransack medical poppy fields. Cats and catnips. Okay, that's an obvious one.
Okay. Do hippos get high off of the poppies?
Wallabies.
Yeah,
Don't think
well,
there are many hippos in Australia.
no, yeah, but in Colombia, they now have a population of like over 150 hippos because somebody had imported like 6 of them for a zoo.
Yeah, the drug lord guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and basically, I don't know if he died or he went broke, but
Prison.
you know, the zoo was basically left there and the hippos just wandered into the river. And since they have no natural predators, over like 50 years, they've expanded to a population of like 150.
I would think the government would start hunting those down. They can't be good.
Well, that's what they've talked about
That's
doing.
the problem
as I
now, that
understand
they're
it.
upsetting the ecosystem of the river.
Am I not hearing anybody hearing me again?
I'm
can hear
sorry,
you.
Are
Johnny.
you?
I'm sorry, no. I started talking the same time you did. I talked over you.
The guy went to prison, and that's why they were left alone.
Oh, okay. He was sent to prison.
Yeah, he was a drug dealer.
Yeah, but Colombia. I didn't know
So
Colombia actually punished drug dealers.
yeah, and this is not 50 years ago. It was much more recent than that.
Okay. So they breed faster than I realized.
I have never heard any 150 of them. So I don't know how many they bred, but
Okay.
that sounds awful high.
Well, this was a little documentary piece I saw on them a couple of months ago.
Now, YouTube documentaries can be interesting, but a lot of times, was this a YouTube documentary? Before I make that assumption,
It was a YouTube thing, but the documentary was actually clipped from a news station.
I mean, there are a lot of like YouTube videos I've like the brick and mortar channel is very detailed about the stuff it covers, but
Well, okay, I just Googled it. And according to the Nature Journal, in April of this year, there were an estimated 181 to 215 hippos.
Wow, that is amazing.
yeah, I think they probably should start hunting them down, or
Yeah,
find a way to capture them and
Relocate them. Yeah.
relocate them.
Are
they have
edible?
actually gone
Are-
as far as starting to shoot them from helicopters because the hippos have started attacking boats in their territory.
Are they going to eat them, or is there a McDonald's nearby, or what?
Are
Well,
hippos
they
endangered, I
basically
wonder?
declared it legal to hunt them, and I don't think they put any restrictions on what you can do with them.
But they might be endangered. There might be an issue with that.
Hippopotamus are very, very dangerous animals.
Yes.
No, endangered.
No, dangerous.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking if they're endangered.
Oh, well, in that country, they probably are.
Apparently, they're vulnerable depending on the species. Because I was going to say, if they start hunting an endangered animal even where they're not supposed to be, there might be some issues with that.
Yep. And okay, that's a pro tip. If you need to hide a body, plant something that's endangered on top of it, because then the paperwork they would need to dig it up is just horrendous.
I remember a rumor going back a few years before I moved away from Pennsylvania that drug dealers had started planting marijuana plants under the state flower, which is the mountain laurel, because it shows up the same on shows up as the same color on like
from the
ultraviolet
helicopter
scans.
stand.
Yeah.
So you're looking up on Wiki, they have it listed, the hippopotamus listed as vulnerable.
Either way, I mean, I can't blame Colombia for taking action because they're not supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, they do run into that problem when an animal that's considered, vulnerable or endangered is introduced into an ecosystem they don't belong, and they start wrecking it.
Like boars are not native to the United States.
Yeah, Texas doesn't care about that.
Yeah, it seemed like the best idea to take care of them would be to relocate them.
Texas has this. Well, they have at least one guy. I don't know if it's popular to do or whatever. But he made a video and it was on YouTube and shit. Probably still is. What's that shit called again? I forget what it's called, but there's this explosive that if you shoot a bullet into it from a distance, it blows up. And I just forget the name of it, but I'm sure we've all heard it before. Anyways, this guy.
What is that?
No, I don't think thermite. Thermite could be a component of it, but I'm not sure the ignition source for thermite.
Oh.
Anywho,
Yeah.
what this guy does is he sets up these traps that attract.
Tannerite.
Yep, that's it. We set up these traps where all these wild pigs come in, and he waits till there's a good number of them, and then he blows it up to kill all the pigs at once.
It's raining a barbecue.
Yeah.
And everybody seems to think that it's just fine because they got such a problem with those creatures. Florida too. There's a big problem with wild pigs and getting into actual suburban neighborhoods and completely digging up their luscious little front yards.
Yeah, I know a
wild
lot of
bunnies,
southern
too.
states are having issues with them.
In Indiana,
Attaway, Florida. Yeah.
it's legal to shoot coyotes in Indiana.
I'll bet you those pigs got more rights in Florida than humans do.
Pretty much.
Well, eventually Ron DeSantis will be, hung in effigy when the Disney employees come and take over. The Disney army comes and takes over the state.
I keep seeing pictures from different sources of him on stage and stuff. I'm absolutely convinced that he's wearing boots that are high heels on the inside.
That's a lot of people are.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw an analysis of that. Yeah, claiming that he's got, like some 2 or 3 inch heels inside his boots because he's
compensating.
Yeah.
They look more like 4, maybe 5 inch.
Okay.
Yeah, heel lifts.
It's just really funny. You look at these boots and they got this little bend in them halfway from between the ankle and the toes of the boot, not the actual person, that are bent up like an elf in the cartoons. It's like, okay, no human foot could fit in that space. So it's got to be empty. It just looks so ridiculous.
Well, at least Ron DeSantis can wear high heels. I can't.
I can't either.
They hurt my feet.
I don't care about the pain. I like how they look. I just can't wear them anymore because I'm a cripple. I can't walk right.
I don't wear them because I've already got a bit of a complex about being too tall.
The first time I tried to wear them, I sprained my ankle.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that might be a
Yeah,
good
you
warning.
don't want to go sideways on those.
And once they figured out my ankles were hypermobile, the physical therapist was like, "Okay, don't wear high heels, don't go roller skating."
I always
Wear
wanted
ice skating.
some 5-inch stilettos.
Well, when
Those
I
are so
lived in
hot.
New York, I learned to do 3-floor walk up in 4-inch heels.
My grandmother accidentally stepped on my hand when I was little in high heels once.
Ooh.
Back heel right in the center of my hand.
Oh, wow. Did it poke through? Jesus.
No, it
Oh.
didn't poke through. That left a nice mark though.
Hey, that's what they could do. They could use high heels to do a simulation of Jesus on them.
Actually, what they need to do if they want to make Ron DeSantis look tall is just have him do a debate with Ben Shapiro.
It would also make his voice sound a lot more masculine.
Ben Shapiro's or Ron DeSantis's?
I love how the media, Saturday Night Live and various comedians stuff are really going after DeSantis. He apparently has this nervous habit of licking his lips.
Yeah.
And so they got all these little, 1.5-second clips of him licking his lips, and they splice them all together rapidly and make snake sounds. It's so funny.
Well, if they want to make Ron DeSantis look tall, they have to go and hire the special effects crew that did the Lord of the Rings movies. Because I think the greatest achievement was they made John Rhys Davies look short.
I think that's done in the computer.
No, actually,
No.
there were scenes that sometimes the other actors were standing on a crate, and sometimes he was standing in a hole.
Yeah, a lot of those shots for Lord of the Rings were a perspective.
Well, there was this actor named Alan Ladd. He was in a lot of westerns and some 1940s detective kind of stuff. And he was notoriously short to the point where if they wanted him to do a walking along scene with the leading lady, they had to dig her a trench
Okay,
to
well,
walk in.
it's getting time for my gaming session tonight. So,
Yep. I was wondering if we should be wrapping up here. So, Porpoise, do you have anything you want to plug before you go?
The Graduate. Oh, come on, Graduate.
Oh, if you want to show that photo I put
Oh.
in the private chat, if you can get to it.
I'm not seeing it.
I
When I
got
go
it.
to private chat, it's not there.
I got it.
It may be because it reset my private chat when I wound up getting kicked out for a minute there.
Present, share. There we are.
I was one of the 2 people graduated in the computer science department with honors. Of course, there were only 8 of us, but still.
Well, then you were the top 10 in your class.
We all were.
Yeah.
Top 10 in the department, not class, because the class is all the students.
How many students again?
The computer science students that graduated, there were 8.
Wow.
Like, this was a winter graduation, so there weren't as many people there.
That's very surprising.
For computer science, not really.
No?
But no, I don't have anything particular to plug right now because I'm not doing anything. Just going to run some errands this week. Which reminds me, I have to replace my social security card as one of them, and go to the eye doctor. But remember, everyone, be excellent to each other, and so long, and thanks for all the fish.
Yay, fishes.
Hey.
Yo, fishes.
Okay. Jenny, I know you're going to be on a whole bunch of the Christmas streams, and when we get the final schedule together, people will be able to go to the kickoff stream that'll be on my channel, and under the description of that, it's going to have the full schedule, so that anytime you want to drop in, you can check there to find out which channel will be active.
As it stands right now, on the 24th, I will be online from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. And from 11 a.m. to 6, it looks like. Yes, 6. Oh, no, 4. 6 isn't confirmed yet. And then from 6 to midnight. So if anybody wants to send me some amphetamines, I'll use coffee. That was just a joke. Don't get upset, YouTube. I was just kidding. Strictly for educational purposes.
Okay, and anybody out there, if you know anybody who might be able to host a stream, there's my my Twitter link. So just ask them to send me a DM on Twitter if they can host the stream on Christmas Day. We still have morning and evening slots open.
Let them know that it's only a 2-hour slot.
Yeah, well, we're asking each person to do a 2-hour slot. If you can only do an hour, let me know about that. We'll find somebody to take the other hour.
And if we fill them all up, Perp promised me that on the wrap-up show that's going to be from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. on the 26th, that we're both going to do it naked.
Like Slim Cyborg.
I don't know. I don't know that I want to see Slim naked.
I mean, if you've ever seen one of Slim streams, you've seen him naked.
No,
yeah, and well, I've seen some of Slim's stage shows where he doesn't seem to be wearing, anything more than a swimsuit. So, got a pretty good idea what's there.
Every man has one. Well, usually.
Yeah, sorry, Aunt Drew. I had to be checking something in another tab.
So many tabs, so little time.
Okay, Ember, you have anything you want to plug?
Oh, goodness. There's so many possible things. I'm probably going to do a random stream later this afternoon after I grab a bite, where I'll be getting ready for this weekend streams. Saturday, there's a recorded video. I think it's my hour from Mythmas over at Skeptic Haven, because that fundraiser is still open. So, people can enjoy, and there's a link to the fundraiser right in the comments and all that fun stuff. Saturday night is the debate review with Mark Reed. That'll be at my channel this week. We alternate. And we're going over Mike Lacona versus Dan Barker over whether Jesus rose. Then Sunday is my turn on the holiday marathon. That's 8 to 9:30 Eastern. Yeah. I've always got stuff going on.
I'm sorry,
yeah.
Ember.
You're still thinking about the Penis Museum, aren't you?
No. I'm actually thinking of the Vagina Museum. They got this really cool display.
Okay.
Anyways, no, if they don't know Jesus rose or not, he probably did, but it took 3 days to get up.
If your resurrection lasts longer than 4 hours, be sure to consult your physician.
I'm sorry. No, I'm not. It was fun.
Okay, Mage, you have anything happening this week? You're going to be appearing on anyone else's channels?
How can I pervert what you're saying?
I'll probably be popping in and out of the various live streams if I can. I'll be hosting my own live stream during the Christmas run on my gardening channel. And speaking of my gardening channel, I'll have a video on the works, so you can look forward to that. little bit behind due to the weather around here, but
What problematic weather in Florida?
yeah, it's been windy.
How can that be?
Well, of course, my big thing is the Christmas marathon coming up. So, yeah, I'll be doing the kickoff at 5 a.m. on the 24th because that is the first stroke of Christmas Day in New Zealand. And we will continue running until 5 a.m. on the 26th to make sure that every bit of land, no matter how small an island anywhere on the world, we have covered all 24 hours of Christmas Day.
Oh, and if you can, please do donate it to Purple's Van and Repair. Molly would love you for it. Look at those eyes. How can you deny that?
Oh,
Yeah,
boop,
don't make the puppy sad.
boop, boop, boop.
Yes, her nose is very boopable.
Have you booped the shark's nose, by the way?
Oh, yes, I boop the
Okay.
shark regularly.
I'm just checking.
And occasionally I am dancing with the shark.
That I don't want to know about.
The shark is my new dance partner.
Oh,
It
man.
probably never steps on your feet.
Nope, never has.
I don't know.
The teacher asked Billy, "What's an election?" Billy says, "I don't know, but if you have one for more than 4 hours, see a doctor."
I bet they sent Billy to the office after that.
Probably.
Oh, God.
Okay, well, with that, I would just like to thank all of our sponsors that send a little money each month to help us keep going here. Skits Crasher, Lavender Lady, Greg Hartwick, Robert X, Kitty the Atheist, Southern Sal, and Vonrek. Appreciate you all helping me pay my internet bill so I can just keep doing this.
You forgot Santa Claus.
Santa Claus has not left me anything for the last several years. So if he wants to make it up for me at this point, it will require at least $100 Lego set.
Oh, Hive, you got here late.
So like 10 pieces.
Oh. Hey, Bree. Yeah, we were just wrapping up. Although I suppose that, yeah, we need to drag this out for another 3 minutes because then we'll be past 3 hours.
Yeah, we can drag it out.
So, who wants to ramble about something irrelevant for 3 minutes?
I mean, we can do irrelevant, or we could do some fossils.
Fossils might take longer than 3 minutes.
Bree, did you get my note about invading your show on the 25th and annoying the hell out of everybody? If you want me to be there from 1 to 3, just let me know and I'll be there. I have it in the calendar already. I just need to mark it confirmed.
Hey, Juju.
And if you don't want me,
Yeah.
that's just fine too. Not a problem.
I will be there in as many streams as I can, although being 48 hours, I expect at some point I'll need to take a nap. And Sunday afternoon, I'll be gone for about 3 to 4 hours to take Slothgirl and go pick up her son and drop them off at her daughter's for dinner. So yeah, to make that whole round trip will take me 3 to 4 hours. Other than that, I'll try to pop into as many streams as possible.
Same here.
So we have all of Christmas Eve covered. We still have a bunch of openings for Christmas Day. So if anybody can host a stream, or if anybody knows anyone who can host one, leave me a note on Twitter or on Discord.
And if you want to get a hold of me on the 25th, I'll be at the Chinese restaurant. I have a chat with a duck.
You always get a hold of me on Twitter.
Thank you again, Ember.
Well, maybe we should have a discussion about what our chat's going to be next week after the holiday.
What we got for Christmas?
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be a lot of it.
Yeah, that could be a good topic.
Although I'm not expecting much this year.
What did you get versus what did you want?
Yep.
And maybe what you gave too.
Well, and
You keep what you kill.
tomorrow night will be the winter solstice, so that will be my holiday. It's I don't celebrate Christmas; I celebrate the Yule. And my tradition on the longest night of the year is to keep a flame burning through the whole night. Since I don't have a fireplace anymore, I basically only have candles to do it.
Well,
I just don't understand the desire to make a holiday and a whole big celebration thing over some old Hollywood actor who's bald. I just
well, what I got was an asshole government. What I wanted was world domination. On that note, we're past our 3-hour mark.
Yeah. Hold on, I just got one more thing I'm going to plug here. That if anyone is interested, this is about my holiday tradition. It's a video I made a couple of years ago about my Yule. So I made that with my old headset, so the audio quality is not great, but...
Did you take clips from The King and I?
No. I got clips from you. I didn't get any clips from the King.
What about
Okay.
Elvis?
What about the Three Kings?
What about Westworld?
I got lots of clips of people freaking.
Well, that should be good.
Okay, Antjer's done with us. Antjer wanted to clarify that was Yul Brynner for the people who were too young to know what you were talking about.
Ah, yeah, because I was all like,
Except it didn't have an E on the end of it. It was just Yul Brynner.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for coming. We appreciate all of you, everybody in the side chat. We like having your comments and keeping us going here and throwing us off topic and whatever you do. And the jokes are always appreciated. So, and thank you, Slothgirl, for giving us some good news for today and for all of your jokes. Oh, hey, Tria, did you just come in too? Okay, good night, all.
"See
Go
you,
ahead.
folks."
Go get caught. It turns out